and welcome to SimRacing Expo and to the RENNSPORT booth. Arjuna Kankipati joined alongside by Ewan O'Leary as we get to celebrate 27 days away from the console launch of RENNSPORT. We are getting closer and closer. We'll have lots to come. The Creator Cup first before we get into some public racing. But Ewan, this is very much a celebration of the last couple of years, the process for the team behind the scenes to get here. But you've just come back from Saudi Arabia and the third trip for a lot of our RENNSPORT teams to Saudi Arabia for the Esports World Cup. Yeah, absolutely. It was another great event. I think personally the best format we've had so far across the 4 days. First time we had only teams. Probably felt like an esports event actually, fitting in with all the other games that were there. Really sort of made its mark again, sort of, I'd say, more esports format, which, yeah, it's just on, as you say, on the journey of this progression that RENNSPORT has been on over the last few years. And what a journey it has been, and it's going to culminate in, as far as I'm aware, the first ever cross-platform racing game where you can race on a PlayStation against people with an Xbox or a PC. And I think that's very cool because we often talk about the challenges of building a sim rig, and now people are going to be able to jump onto a controller and compete with some of the world's best and across some really interesting cars and tracks as well. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's always been a thing that I think sim racing has needed for a long time since RENNSPORT has come in. Seen it on the esports side of things, all right the way back when it started with RENNSPORT, but now it's come to the public domain, if you like, as well, which, you know, I think is a great thing for sort of the community as a whole. No more arguments about whether Xbox players are terrible or PC players are great or whatever. Everybody's on the even playing field, and that's a good thing for everybody. And so let's talk about the agenda for the day, what we've got in store for you. Me and Ewan won't just be stuck here behind the desk. We'll be headed down to our rigs very shortly to interrupt our creators who are getting set for the Creator Cup, something that has been done online a couple of times, but the first time that we have a star-studded field of 8 competitors ready to do battle. We'll have about an hour's break then. We'll have a one-on-one between Super GT and Jan Bardenberg for those that are here at SimRacing Expo to watch on. But 4 p.m. local time is when we'll get underway with our competition, where we've had time attacks all the way through the day so far, Ewan, and we'll take the fastest 18 of them and do battle for some prizes. Yeah, we've been hotlapping all morning and early afternoon as well. Seen some familiar faces, some new names we're going to learn about as well, which I'm excited about. Always a great thing about these events, you get to sort of see some new people who surprise you with how good they are. So yeah, that will be a lot of fun as well. Looking forward to that in a little bit of time. But first of all, the Creator Cup, I can see some of them arriving. I bet some of them are late. If I know sim racers and sim racing fans, that some of them are going to be late. So we'll deal with that when they arrive. But I can see some of them getting ready. Serious faces, some of them over there. I can see our hard-working team gathering up all the different people. Daniel Morad is staring at me. I think he was a bit confused when we talked about sim racers being late. Never. A race car driver would never be late. So we have Daniel Morad, we have Jan Mardenborough. Those are 2 real-world drivers who bring plenty of experience to this competition. But then Super GT, Gamer Muscle, Hoki Hoshi, Kureth, and then Traction GG and Overtake represented. So there's a little bit of a storyline there for us to focus on. There is a bit of a rivalry. Tom's waving at me from Traction. Oh yeah, and there's Rene from Overtake as well. It'd be good if they're on the. Are they on the rig next to each other there? Looks like, even better. There's going to be a fight, maybe. But oh, and Rene's got gloves as well. Gloves are on for the fight, dear me. But yeah, no, it's going to be good for them as well. Looking forward to it. They're just some of them sitting down, getting ready now. And yeah, I've got no idea who's going to be good at this, if I'm honest with you. I mean, the pressure's on Daniel and Jan, if we're being honest, right? The real racing drivers stepping into the rigs. But one of these drivers, the winner of this race, which will be a race at Spa, we'll have some more Creator Cup races tomorrow at some different venues. The winner of this race will actually move directly to our final later on today, competing alongside 8 other sim racers who have just qualified via the public time attack. So that's going to be really cool. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so semi-finals later on. 18 people have qualified through the hot laps. And then, as you say, 8 will go through with the Creator as well. Also very interesting to see how the Creator actually stacks up against the general public, as it were. Are they going to get smacked or are they going to win?
you know, I don't know. It might be in the middle of the two, but that will be interesting as well.
Could be an interesting video.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's all about content, isn't it? It's the Creator Cup after all.
And speaking of content, new content in RENNSPORT in the release version. Let's run you down through the list. It includes a bevy of GT3 cars, the McLaren 720S, the new 911 GT3R Evo, as well as the Ford Mustang GT3, available to all of those that pre-order. There is also the RENNSPORT Founders Track and new features coming, single player, with artificial intelligence and a championship mode, which for someone like me who now doesn't get a chance to jump onto the sim rig and race online very much, those are great features. I love being able to jump in against AI and, let's be honest, turf them out the way.
Yeah, I'm a big offline fan as well, big single player fan as well, so really looking forward to that as well. The fact that it's sort of organised championship mode as well is something that, you know, especially years gone past in sim racing generally, you couldn't really do it unless you were online. And that was one of the attractions of it, obviously. But to do it offline as well, because, you know, let's say some people, you know, work strange hours or whatever. You can't always get online when you need to be, whatever. Having that access offline is, you know, really great for more to, you know, have that access to more people.
And I still remember Daytona. I was there for the Rolex 24 earlier this year. I had RENNSPORT on my Steam Deck, and so I booted it up. I was driving around Daytona at Daytona. Again, that's where the AI comes in handy. You talked about attraction. We've got one just to the right-hand side of us here, which is a classic DTM race car. Has won 3 races as well, and that's going to be part of the second DLC. The Touring Classics Part 1 that you'll be able to pick up shortly includes the Alpha 155, the Mercedes-Benz 190 Evo, BMW M3, the Mercedes C-Class V6, as well as the Hockenheim Classic layout. But before then, the first DLC pack includes another bunch of endurance classics, and some of these really are appealing to me. In particular, the GT1 Porsche 911, joined alongside by the legendary Mercedes CLK LM, Porsche 956 as well, all as we welcome the Circuit de la Sarthe to RENNSPORT later on this year.
Yeah, one of the best circuits in the world, in my opinion, anyway, so looking forward to that as well. Yeah, classic content is something I really enjoy, actually, about, you know, sim racing titles. We've had the sort of modern day GT3s in RENNSPORT for a while, and those are still being updated. Those are not being abandoned. The new Porsche's coming up, even though we've had the one from before. The new Porsche Evo is coming as well. But yeah, classic content in video games and sim racing game titles. Yeah, really enjoy those. So looking forward to those DLCs. Le Mans as well, a really good addition circuit-wise.
And could be an interesting track for next year's Esports World Cup. Now, for those that have watched the previous couple of Esports World Cups, top sim racing teams head out to Riyadh to compete in person across 4 days of competition. And you were there for the 2025 edition, and it sounds like the atmosphere was electric.
Yeah, it was a fantastic. As I say, it felt more like an esports event than ever before, in my opinion, at the Esports World Cup this year. There were surprises right from the very beginning. The regular season online sort of mattered going forward into the in-person event more than it did in previous years, which is a good thing as well. And yeah, there were shocks pretty much every day. Porsche Coanda going out early was a real shock. That you couldn't have picked who was going to go out on the first day either. That was really close and really unpredictable as well. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm sure it's going to continue to go from strength to strength as well. New circuits being brought in always keeps them on their toes. That's what makes it for good competitions.
And we'll hopefully get a chance to talk to some of those Esports World Cup competitors, maybe the BS competition driver Kaki Oliveira or team manager Florian Hasper. And you mentioned the regular season really counting. They ended the regular online season in 4th position, but by the end of day 1, they were down in 9th. And that really goes to show just how competitive a field we have.
Yeah, exactly, especially in that region of the field. It's really, obviously Redline have been so good for so long in RENNSPORT and across sim racing as well. But, you know, in that midfield, it's really close. And on, you know, on the day, you look back at certain incidents that happen on the day, I mean, it can turn the tide completely. The way that the penalty points worked so that it would take away from your total on the day rather than carry forward into next events was some way to, you know, punish you on the day more, if you like, and that kept it closer. And a few of those go a different way, and BS competition go maybe all the way to the final. Who knows? That's what you want, isn't it? That's what sport is all about, after all. And yeah, great that RENNSPORT has provided that for the last few years. A competition that's continuing to go from strength to strength.
I was a bit sad not to be there, but I couldn't complain too much. I was north of the American border in Daniel Morad's country, where he was the hometown hero at the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. So as we mentioned, this is a celebration of the journey that has been to get RENNSPORT here. 13th of November, it's cross-play launch, live on Xbox and PlayStation, but of course cross-play with PC users as well. Lots to look forward to, as we are only 27 days away from that. Pre-orders are available now if you want to pre-purchase your copy, get ready to download it, and be ready on day one to go racing. Let's start talking about this Creator Cup, though, because we were speculating on who the favorites were. Here's a look at some of those faces, some with bigger smiles than others. Who's going to have the biggest smile in about 45 minutes' time?
If I look at them laughing at their own faces as well. I think you know, if I was to predict a winner, I'm going to go for Daniel Morad, to be honest. You know, real-world racing pedigree, but I'm putting the pressure on now as well, aren't I? Real-world racing pedigree, but also, you know, sim racing pedigree as well, which is important. But I do wonder how how seriously they'll take it in some senses. I bet some of them at the front, especially, will be taking it very seriously, but some of the others will not be, especially when they realise they can't win anymore.
Well, Daniel was here yesterday and doing some practice, so he is
he
understands the pressure on his shoulders. I see John Munro, that's who we were taking a look at slightly earlier on. So that means there's two traction teammates who can team up on Rene in the traction versus overtake battle, and they've just given us the thumbs up, so we know exactly what we're in for here.
Yes. If you can't beat them, crash into them, I suppose. That might be the...
that's a good one.
That might be the strategy. I'm not, you know, it's just a rumour for the moment. So does that mean we've got 9 then, I guess? I didn't see John on the list earlier, so it must mean we've got 9.
Yeah, so they've cheated. Yes, what they've done. They've secretly finagled a second driver in, and now Rene and Tom are having John rather, having a very animated back and forth. I tell you what, Ewan, they're underway for practice. Why don't we take our microphones and
try not to knock anything over
and try not to do that. Yes, but wander around and see who we can interrupt to start with. Should we start with our favourite, Daniel Morad?
Go on, then. He's not even driving yet.
I know. I don't know if
What are you doing? What are you doing? You have no connection to your mic.
I was trying to disrupt you is what I was trying to do.
Well, it's working. I'm trying to make some social media posts, okay? It's much more important than going fast. Everyone knows that.
So you did some practice yesterday. How are you feeling in the Mercedes GT3 car?
You call 3 laps practice? We talking about practice, not the race. No, it's good. Well, I'm going to keep talking, even though it's disconnecting. I did 3 more laps on the rig this morning, just to kind of get a feel. I spoke to Dare McCormick, got some pro tips, so I'm expecting to do like 13s now.
13s would be very, very impressive. It does seem as though our signal doesn't allow us to go and interrupt the racers as much as we were hoping, but Ewan, 3 laps of practice, are we counting that?
What, am I saying that? Am I going to count that as practice, you mean? Yeah. I mean, I think the less practice is the better, to be honest. Although I did see Yam was driving, sort of, and nobody else was, so Rene was pointing that out to everybody else. So what's going on here? But yeah, they're racing drivers after all, so they're trying to get as much as they can, even when they're not allowed. But yeah, looks like we're just about ready to start practice anyway.
As I mentioned slightly earlier, we have done a couple of these Creator Cups in the past, but only online. So this is the first time, as far as I'm aware, that they'll be able to look to the right, look to the left, and intimidate their opposition. Daniel Morad, not the only one that was doing social media posts. I've seen a couple of the others getting ready to go as well. Qualifying. How important is qualifying, Ewan, in a race like this where chaos is expected?
Well, less than normal, certainly, I'm going to say. But to be fair, even in the sort of top competitions at Spa, it hasn't actually mattered that much. So, no, won't matter very much. I believe it's just one shot, like the normal professional competition as well. So it's going to be a lottery, first of all, but also not maybe the most important.
Let's see if we can interrupt one more driver. Is my microphone going to let me sit next to Rene? I think it will. Rene, how are you doing today?
I'm all good, and you?
better now that I've got some talent next to me. What are we expecting here? We were just talking qualifying important or not. What's your thoughts?
I mean, we're still discussing balance of performance, so I have no clue if that car choice was correct. We'll see. I tried to get everyone else teamed up to crash the real drivers in turn 1, and then we realized we will probably not see them, so the only chance to do that is actually when they lap us. So yeah, we're still trying to find that right strategy, and obviously it's kind of unfair, 2 traction, 1 overtake driver. I just want to make that clear here.
See, let's let Ewan go and talk to the traction guys.
I'm reaching this far enough, but
no, just admiring your amazing.
it's not like yours.
Ah, here we go. Yes, so I was just saying to Ewan there and his amazing beard that John is our main driver, and I was here because there was a slot left. I'm not experienced, I'm going to be at the back, and I know Rennie's talking about rivalry. There's no rivalry, is there? It's all fun and games.
Right, we'll let you guys get down to the hard yards of putting the practice in. We are here at the Circuit Spa-Francorchamps, which is a long lap, and the opportunity to make a difference, therefore, is bigger. More opportunities, more braking zones, more time to gain, more time to lose.
Yeah, we were just commenting on the Hotlap competition a little bit earlier about how big the gaps were. Obviously, it's a public competition, which obviously makes it a little bit bigger than normal anyway, but Spa, yeah, very big gaps at Spa normally. It's a very, very long lap round here, and a very difficult lap as well. I know everybody knows it, but it's still a very difficult lap.
It's one of those circuits as well where commitment is required. It's still relatively old school, but a couple of gravel sections added in the last couple of years that have maybe taken some of that risk factor out slightly. We are all in GT3 cars, and this is effectively the same. We're talking about BOP. Same BOP that was used in the Esports World Cup, so it should be relatively close between. I see Jan in the Porsche, I know René's in the BMW, Daniel's obviously Mercedes factory driver in a Mercedes, but we'll have to keep an eye on that. At the end of the day, the choice of car is often down to personal preference.
Yeah, rather than which is actually faster, because there isn't really one. Although, apart from your own personal preference, as you say. So, yeah, a few people going different. It does look like, I think the Mercedes was the most chosen, although it was quite evenly split. Did see even an Audi in there as well, which you don't see too often anymore. Certainly not in R1, but as you say, it is all about personal preference. So it won't matter that much in the end. And I do wonder how much practice these guys have actually done at home in terms of, or how much driving they've actually done at home before this event. Maybe it won't even matter because it's not their rig anyway.
Again, remember, there's a couple of GT3 cars that will be available on day 1 on November the 13th, including the McLaren 720S, but also the Ford Mustang GT3, which looks great at night, I can confirm.
Have you seen the one here?
Yes, they have the one that's raced in the NLS, hasn't it?
Yeah. No, it's one of those dirty race cars as well. It's been raced, it's weathered, which is always nice. Well, it's to me anyway, so... bet some people would have walked past and thought, why is that dirty? Who's not been polishing it? But no, it's just been raced. That's why. And yeah, it looks great. It's massive though, isn't it?
Yes. I got a hot lap in the Ford Mustang GTD, the road version of it, at Road Atlanta with a Ford Junior driver, and I've got to say, it looks big. But boy, can that thing move. It's got front tires that are bigger than a lot of the rear tires that you'll have on your own road car. So it is a beast. They're practicing right now. Limited practice. I think René is just trying to get himself dialed in with the equipment as well. But this is always important, like you said, because these aren't the rigs that they compete on regularly. So they're trying to get familiar with the seating position. I did a couple of laps in these last night, and as you know, Ewan, I've got longer legs than I do brains in my head. And so that meant I was a little bit uncomfortable until I realized how to move the seat back.
Yeah. I wouldn't have been able to reach them probably if I got in after you, but that's a separate issue. Yeah,
it's small and tall in the booth today.
Exactly. Yeah. I was hoping we'd stay sat down actually, so because I can just put the seat up then. But I could stand on the step. But yeah, it's one of those things you've got to get comfortable with before. And René still isn't Maybe he's just complaining. But
It's a very sim racer thing to do.
I know, yeah. They all like to complain. I like how we're doing the staggered start as well, same as what we do in R1. So we're going to get to see everybody, or a little bit of everybody's lap anyway.
There's a smiling Steve. Super GT just won his first race in the Nürburgring Landstraßen Series. And I tell you what, let's see if I can wander around and my microphone won't die and see who's going to go first, because I found the limit of the signal. John Monroe, I think, is the first one out in qualifying.
Yeah, and he's just over the boundary as well. We should put a fence up or something, just so we can remember. But oh dear, Tom has been let go as well. He's immediately spun into the grass. So Rene's crashed. He's been let go. So yeah,
I see Daniel's being let go as well.
Oh yeah, he's not crashed though, because he's a professional.
So I'm going to go watch Daniel Morad as he heads his way up through the top of Eau Rouge. And then you're still climbing here as you make your way up towards the top of the Camel Straight. You're watching over the shoulder as well. Break just around the 100-meter board. A little bit after that when the curb begins, and then try and clatter the curbs if you find the time before you head off towards Malmedy for the very first time. And this is where, Ewan, I think the addition of gravel on the outside has really changed the risk-reward of the corner.
Yeah, it's a lot more. Oh dear, I'm finding the limit again. It's a lot more precarious through there these days now. And as you say, I've really approved of the changes Spa have made in the last few years. Made it an improved great circuit as it is. I don't think we can stand in that corner. It's improved the great circuit that it is. These guys are out there on their laps at the moment. Jan Marder are having a very clean first sector, as it looks like. Tom and Rene weren't. I was looking over their shoulder and they weren't, I'm afraid. So they'll be starting towards the back, I would imagine. But
because it is one-shot qualifying.
Yes, yeah. So I'd imagine it's more comfortable for them that way. But yeah, they will be at the back.
I love the pressure of a one-shot qualifying. It really does spice up things, and that's what we've seen in R1 at the Esports World Cup as well. But as a driver, it's difficult, because you know this is not the be-all and end-all. Qualifying is just the start, but you've got to get yourself in that go-fast mentality, as Lee Diffie might put it, and then switch gears, because it's only a couple of minutes away from then starting the race after you finish your lap.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's only a sprint race after all, so it's not like a massive mindset shift, I suppose, but it is still notable as Daniel Morad comes over the line. I don't know if it... what's the time?
2:17.956.
That's not bad, actually. I think,
he's not happy
he's not happy with it, no, but that's not bad. That's not bad. I think that's, I can't remember what the target times are these days, but the target time certainly used to be
2:14 as well.
14:2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. That's quicker than I'll be able to manage.
So, Gamer Muscle is second. John Monroe is third, although just beaten now as an Audi jumps up into second. Jan Mardenberg is about to cross the line, and he is now up into second. So our two real-world drivers, maybe unsurprisingly, 1 and 2.
Well, it would be a failure if not, I suppose. So they've got to be. It's in their contract. So they're 1 and 2 at the moment. 7 tenths apart, just about. Still a few drivers yet to actually finish their laps. Super GT is still going. So is Rene. Although if that lap started when he was actually let go, then it would be nowhere near, because he was fiddling around with the settings on the lap. But it looks like he's still concentrating. It's a few seconds back, but nothing too crazy. Super GT miles away.
He must have had a spin or two on that lap to be about 20 seconds off of Daniel Morad's time. Although, even with the struggles from Rene, he's gone faster than Steve.
So clearly, that lap hadn't started yet by the time he got his issues sorted out. And I see that the R1 rules are not in effect, because you can just carry on driving afterwards anyway. I presume there's no repercussions.
Practice.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Proper professional sim racers get very upset about that kind of thing, but, it doesn't really matter.
If I remember correctly, you weren't allowed to drive.
Not past the first sector.
Yeah, you were allowed to finish the first sector, but that's about it in the Esports World Cup. Is Rene just practicing his celebrations for the end of the race?
I mean, he's just spinning around aimlessly, so that's the only explanation. That's a nice explanation for it.
And so I think our provisional order is going to be Daniel Morad from Jan Marder. But one, James West, John Monroe, Thomas Harrison Lord, Rene Butler, Steve Alvarez Brown, and then Kirith at the tail end of the 9-car field that we have here as we get ready to go for our first Creator Cup race of the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple more coming tomorrow, so we're told, around different circuits in the world. So come back tomorrow, see these guys back out there again for second and third races of the weekend. But yeah, about to get underway for race number 1. They're just about getting onto the grid. Hopefully everybody's happy with the rig and everything, and we'll soon be ready to go for the first race. Here we go.
And so 5 red lights will build up and we go racing for the first time at the SimRacing Expo at the RENNSPORT booth. It is the Creator Cup, and from the front of the field, it's Daniel Morad and Jan Mardenborough that lead us up to La Source for the first time of asking. Good start from Daniel Morad, although defending to the inside as the Porsche tries to make its way through. Drag race off the corner down towards Eau Rouge for the very first time, and I think it's the Porsche with the advantage, at least momentarily.
Yeah, at the inside line at La Source, so he's going to get the exit as well. Morad, though, so close, almost too close, coming up the hill through Eau Rouge and Radion for the first time. Look at that in the mirrors there. He's going to come through to the left-hand side, Morad. Going to try and get through on the straight towards Le Com for the first time.
And this is where that side draft action, NASCAR style, can help. But I think Daniel's being careful here. Doesn't want to force the issue. Jan on the inside overshoots the brake zone, and there goes the Mercedes. Through goes Morad.
Yeah, that was very nice. Just put him off in towards Le Com, switch back the other way, and slip straight through into the lead ahead of Jan Mardenborough. And then he's going to try and drive away from the rest of the field, you'd hope, through the rest of this race. Currently leading by car length 4-2. He'll extend that margin again, but yeah, leading the field comfortably after that, after regaining that pole position there.
I think Thomas Harrison Lord has had now an issue, unfortunately. He's at the tail end of the field, and so John Monroe sitting in, is that 4th position? Currently holds the best position in our fight between traction versus overtake, and we are going to track that as in towards the middle sector they work. Daniel Morad still at the front of the field. Rene Butler has just been passed by Super GT, who's carving his way from the back of the pack.
We need a name for the Traction Overtake Cup, or whatever we're going to call it, by the way.
I think you just named it.
Well, that seems kind of rubbish. There's got to be a better name than that, hasn't there? Answers on a postcard, if you would. But yeah, at the moment, you say John Monroe leading it. And if I can see from here, which I can't really, I think Rene's down in about 7th. So he's got a couple of positions to... he is. He's got a couple of positions to sit back on, and they're going side by side in front of him as well. I think that's Super GT coming through, isn't it?
And through Blanchimont, that is scary, but they get it done. Good respect shown on both sides as we end the opening lap, and it's still only a couple of car lengths at the very front of the field. And so... maybe not surprised to see our 2 real-world racers out there and fighting. Daniel Morad trying to avoid giving the toe to Jan Mardenborough as they run through the relatively short pit straight on the climb up to La Source once again.
Yeah, this is where Jan took the lead, and Morad goes wide. Oh, again, like the first lap, Mardenborough was going to be too close coming down the hill here towards Eau Rouge, but it didn't seem to matter for Daniel Morad last time round. Hopefully it doesn't matter for Jan Mardenborough here either as they come up the hill. The Porsche's super close in behind. You just have to breathe him off the throttle briefly over the top, and he hasn't quite got the run, but he will hope to be ahead by the time they get to Le Com, much like Morad was last lap.
Now, you wouldn't expect the Porsche to be a rocket ship in a straight line, but look at the speed as they pull alongside of one another. No, around the outside, that was a bold move, although it's deja vu, but roles reverse.
Oh.
This time, Jan Mardenborough tries to slip through. Daniel Morad makes a little bit of contact, and so it's John Monroe that takes the lead.
Oh, and Jan just rejoined straight in front. Oh, it's carnage. Look at this. One of the Aston Martins off. One of the... that might be Morad still trying to get going again. Oh, no, Morad's letting him back through again. Jan put his hand straight up there to Daniel Morad to say, what were you doing there? And they're going to argue about that later. But I think Jan's back in the lead again because something else happened there. From the leaders who retook the lead there, ahead of Mardenborough and Morad, they then came together. And now Jan Mardenborough's back in the lead.
You are correct. And there was a little bit of thumbs up going between Morad and Mardenborough there. Just maybe a little bit of a, let's calm it down. Let's resume the battle once again as we're relatively early into this race, let's not forget. This is only a 5-lap affair, although incident points are in effect. And I see Jan's already up to 8 of the 15.
Yeah, you've got to be, you've got to be careful of the incident points as always. And these guys won't be as experienced as that. We don't often talk about it with the professional competitions because they know the limits of where you get an instant point so well that it's not really a talking point anymore. But for these guys who don't drive it quite as often, do other things, it's more difficult. So it will be something to watch out for. But as long as he doesn't get involved in any more crashes, it should be fine.
That's what you'd hope at the very least. There's only 5 laps, and at Spa, with its gravel now being added, it's definitely hard to take advantage of track limits, with the exception of cruising over the top of Radion. Daniel Morad getting very close out of the final corner, but a snap of oversteer as he put the foot to the floor, and he's lost a couple of car lengths once again, and so Mardenborough leads from Morad, Monroe, Butler. That's the top 5 as they run right now.
So good recovery from Rene Butler from being at the back of the field and unhappy in qualifying. Places gained in the race so far. Super GT's back at the back of the field, I notice. So he's come through to the sort of front and then he's right the way to the back again. I think he's quite a long way off the back of the field as well. So lots of work to do there, unfortunately, for him. Should be one of the faster drivers, I think, but apparently not.
Well, we're calling Jan and Daniel are real-world racers, but we shouldn't forget that not only has Steve just finished a NLS season, but Rene's done a decent amount of racing at the ring as well. So we'll have to set our expectations maybe a little bit higher for the two of them. At the front, though, it's back to maybe a car length between the two of them, and very closely matched, it would seem, in different cars with different strengths and weaknesses. It's going to come down to the last lap.
Yeah, Porsche versus Mercedes, and it does look like it's going to come right down to the last lap between, I'm still going to say the two professional drivers because they're the most professional, but even so, there is a lot of real-world talent on the grid, as you mentioned. Mardenborough still leading, and he's got a couple of car lengths over the likes of Daniel Morad at the moment, who's chasing closest in second place. As you say, the Porsche and Mercedes do have their different strengths and weaknesses. I did notice when they were absolutely nose to tail that the Porsche was very strong, sort of at the bottom of Eau Rouge there, coming up the hill. So that's a good sign for defending. If you're fast through that part, then you're more likely to keep the place through Le Comte.
I was just watching Rene's hands at work, very, very quick to avoid the car snapping around on him. They are very much fighting these cars to get the most of the GT3 machines. Yes, they have ABS and traction control, but in the Esports World Cup, often they'll turn the traction control off, they'll dial the ABS off as much as they can, because any racing driver in the sim world wants to avoid the assists as much as you'd think they were trying to help you.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, they can manage it better than the computer system can. So that's why they turn it off, and they are generally very good at it. But it's 2 laps to go, and Mardenborough still just about leading ahead of Daniel Morad. Not a big gap at all, but Morad going to be putting the pressure on.
And pictures on your screens now. You are watching the sights and sounds of the RENNSPORT booth here at the SimRacing Expo, but down the bottom of the hill through the compression. Two drivers who have had experience of racing at Spa in the 24-hour race. Would be very curious to get their opinions on day versus night, what that experience is like. But here comes Morad. Now remember, we've seen a couple of swaps around at the top of the hill through Le Comte. Mardenborough stern on the defense, parked it on the inside of the corner, although Morad, lots of speed, bit of a wiggle as he sweeps towards Malmedy, holds on to the spot, 1.5 laps left to battle.
Yeah, it was a big hit, wasn't it? Mardenborough was really sent out sideways. As a result of that, the Mercedes very, very beefy, getting into the side of the Porsche on that occasion. Oh, and Mardenborough getting into another slide as well. You generally can slide these cars quite a lot, but that was a big hit.
And one thing I noticed just looking at that move as they were coming, and you see it again now, there's an Aston Martin lurking in the background, Ewan, and guess who? That is Traction's own John Munro.
Very much leading the traction overtake battle, although Rene's not that far behind, although he's spun through turn 6, from 6, sorry. Needs to get out of the way of the middle of the road, and he does. Spins around again, he'll drop to 8th, I think. Will indeed. Will Tom even get, oh no, Tom has gone past. So it's only Super GT behind him, and overtake firmly at the back, I'm afraid.
He said that, not me.
True.
So, 1 lap left to go. I don't think you can count John Munro out of this, because A, he's close enough to make a move if he gets close enough, But what happens if we have another moment at the top of Les Combes once again? Morad's got a bit more of a buffer as they sweep through Blanchard on one of the fastest corners on the track for the penultimate time. But this is where he sometimes caught himself out on the brakes, on the power through the final corner. This chicane where Mardenborough goes deep closes the gap up in the Porsche. It looks mighty strong and confident there. 7 kilometers left in the Creator Cup.
Yeah, just one more lap, and Daniel Morad will lead ahead of Jan Mardenborough and John Munro over at the start-finish line for the penultimate time. In towards turn 1, where Mardenborough took the lead, don't forget, on lap number 1. Has he got a good enough exit? It's okay. He's there or thereabouts. It's going to be about the slipstream run all the way into Les Combes to see if he can take the race lead at what could be a decisive moment here.
They are all on identical hardware provided to us by Moser and Placey. It's all now down to the human element. Mardenborough, look at the speed over the top of the crest. He is right there, although maybe a little bit too close. Tries to switch back to the inside now. Morad closes the door and gets turned in response. Maybe a bit reactionary, but into the Armco on the Kemmel straight. And here comes John Munro.
He's going to try and take the lead and take it away from Jan Mardenborough, who immediately felt a little bit of regret about that. He didn't. He felt a bit guilty, and we'll see. What Daniel Morad decides to do about that a little bit later. But anyway, Munro maybe is in the best position because, as he said, he could pick up the pieces if they make contact again, and they have done.
I tell you what, both Jan and Daniel were giving it as good as they got. That was a really fun fight as they put themselves right on the edge of the limit. If you're John, if you're traction zone, John Munro, you've only got a couple of real opportunities here, if we're being honest, Ewan. And most importantly is going to be that final corner.
Yeah, that will be the best chance. We've seen so many races on RENNSPORT competitively settled there. When the race is close like this, when the front two are still like that, you think the race is won actually at Les Combes oftentimes, because that is the best chance. And before the final lap, you never really have a look into the final bus stop chicane, but it is still a decent chance. The reason you don't see so many moves there is because the Kemmel Straight is coming up in a few seconds' time when you're normally going through there. These are the final corners of the race, though, coming up, and Jan Mardenborough has just got to hold on through here ahead of John Munro.
See a couple of BS competition jerseys, by the way, off to the side. Caught my eye for a second, but I think this gap might be a little bit too much to overcome. John Munro has hung in there and stayed close as the battle raged on at the front of the field, but a ding-dong fight ends in contact, ends with 2 cars off the road, but it will be sim racer turned professional motorsports driver back in the sim. Jan Mardenborough wins the Creator Cup on Friday at the RENNSPORT booth.
John Munro smiling there because he effectively just followed Jan off the circuit. It was a great chance to try and pass him straight away, but couldn't because he just followed him. Immediate shake of hands from Mardenborough and Morad. I think the apology there going towards Mardenborough, and they're discussing it as well. They are properly taking it seriously, aren't they, those two?
Daniel's actually wearing a POV camera, so that will be interesting to watch from his perspective. But I did kind of call it. I think he may have moved in reaction. So Mardenborough, Munro, Daniel Moran, that's the top 3. Gamer Muscle's going to finish in 4th. Robert Weinman is going to be in 5th with Thomas Harrison Lord 6th. Rene Butler, a spin, but he will finish, unfortunately, behind Kireth, who takes 7th. It will be Rene in 8th and Super GT in 9th.
Maybe. Rene hasn't finished yet. So maybe he won't bother. Right, there we go. He's fine. He can finally be bothered to do the last few hundred metres. Crosses the line in 8th. And then Super GT finishes in 9th place to end the first race of the weekend. But Traction very much winning that one. Traction versus Overtake, and Mardenborough overall.
And Thomas Harrison Lord grabbed a picture of that, and now
that's going to be going up on socials very shortly.
Exactly. No, it's all in good taste, we should say. We need to come up with a name for the cup. You are right. Traction Overtake Cup doesn't sound so good.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. We'll get thinking overnight, and we'll come back tomorrow with a better idea. But
we're going to task ChatGPT with that as well.
Oh God, no!
See what it can come up with. Right. We're going to have a podium ceremony coming up now. We've got some trophies off on our right-hand side, which will be presented to the drivers. Just waiting for them to calm down a little bit. Even a 5-lap race, and the adrenaline starts to build up.
They're doing another race, says Daniel Morad, so I'll believe him. Is he requesting that, or is that actually going to happen? It is going to happen.
Jan's nodding as well. See,
Maybe both, actually.
We were under the impression it was just the one race at Spa, but I'm glad that we're wrong. Let's see if this microphone's going to work. What's Daniel got to say?
I said double or nothing.
There we go. Let's quickly steal a chat with Jan as well. Jan, that looked like a lot of fun.
It was great to fight with these guys, especially Daniel, and yeah, it was nice to win.
Thoughts on the move?
Well, he admitted fault, but I was also kind of coming over and say, look, I thought there was a bit more room, but yeah, it was good battle between us, good respect.
Thanks, Jan. We'll let you focus on the task at hand. I'm also conscious of the signal.
Yes, I know.
You know, live broadcasting, it always works perfectly, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know. I'm not sure if it's like that at home or if it's just here, but yeah, signal can get a bit grainy if we stand in a few corners, so let's not do that. But yeah, they're going to have another race, have another go. I can't imagine it's going to be different names at the front, to be honest. Although, having said that, Super GT definitely had issues in that race. I don't know what they were, but there might have been driver issues. But there were definitely some issues, so he's probably going to be further up the field, but other than that...
In the software term, we often call that PEBCAC. Problem exists between the keyboard and computer.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I thought you were going to say between the steering wheel and the seat,
True.
Which is the real life version, obviously. But yes, that might be the issue there, the human element, which is unavoidable.
Again, just a reminder, we are 27 days away from the console launch of RENNSPORT. It will be available on PlayStation, Xbox, but most significantly cross-play across both platforms and PC as well. The very first time that we have had a true cross-play experience in this sort of a racing title, and that's going to be very, very exciting.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, as I said earlier on, it's a great chance for normal people just picking up RENNSPORT to have a go against people on other platforms they wouldn't normally race against. So that's the big advantage of that I'm really looking forward to. That, yeah, as I said earlier, Sims haven't had for a long time. So that'll be a good part of it. And of course, if you want to try the Xbox and PlayStation versions and the PC versions here, and you're here at the Expo, then come to the RENNSPORT stand, although you can't try now. You can later, or tomorrow, or the day after. Yeah,
tomorrow or the day after. Yes, no, let's not get their hopes up. I think
sorry.
We've reserved the entire 11 rigs just for you and me for the rest of the day. So we
you are long enough. Stretch you over them.
But yeah, we've got our competitions. Come back tomorrow. Is it 10 a.m. The start time, and we'll have our leaderboard again, and you can qualify in for what will be a second day of competition. I do believe, or maybe that's just them checking the settings on one rig, that we are going back to Spa for a second race.
Yes, it looks like it. Rene's still complaining. So
How unfair. Let's go and talk to him. Rene, how was it?
I mean, I knew that it will not look good for me, or that great. But the issue is, like you guys said, I did not try to finish the race. I was full on throttle, full input, but the car actually did not move. First gear, no TC. So every single time I was next to another car, you could just see them going by like I wouldn't actually push the throttle enough. But it's full on, but I don't get the power. And you hear it, like the engine does all of a sudden. So I don't know why.
You were in the Max Verstappen detuned car.
Yeah, probably too fast for everyone.
We'll let you get back to the task at hand, but you know that there's a lot of noise from somewhere else.
There's a lot of noise, yeah.
I thought we were the only noisy ones here this weekend.
Someone's turned on a 2000s F1 car. Not in real life, I don't think. That'll be even louder.
It's screaming. I can hear it.
Goodness me, it's probably... it's only over... Oh, is it? Oh, no, it is miles away. They've just got the thing turned up really loud. So yeah, that's reverberating around the whole hall.
Let's talk about the attraction that we've got to our right. Now, we have to be careful. We can't get too close to it.
No.
But this is a classic Alpha DTM machine. This specific car won 3 races in the DTM as well. It's a museum piece. It looks in fabulous condition, but we have it here, and you'll be able to drive it on RENNSPORT in a couple of months.
Yeah, it looks fantastic, doesn't it? This era of sort of DTM or touring car more generally, actually, does look absolutely fantastic. And not a lot of sims have ever taken it on as a sort of a class in their sim. So really pleased to have it. As I said earlier, I really enjoy the classic content because we've got, GT3s are in a lot of places and whatever, but it's this classic content that I really look forward to seeing more of. And yeah, you can see a real one at our stand here this weekend as well, which looks fantastic.
And so that is part of the Touring Classics Part 1 DLC, but that is a second DLC pack that will be available. It's the Endurance Classics that will be out first, the Porsche 911 GT1, Mercedes CLK, the Porsche 956 as well, all joining the Circuit de la Sarthe, available on RENNSPORT. Now, as I understood it, we were meant to have 2 Creator Cup races tomorrow, one at Monza, and I think, is the other at Road Atlanta?
Road Atlanta, yeah.
Which is a great track, by the way.
We didn't use it at the Esports World Cup this year. I was very disappointed.
Did we not?
No.
How disappointing.
They're very disappointing, but we've only got so many races. We've got quite a lot of tracks now. We can't get through them all.
That's true.
We used to, yeah. We just miss them out now. So yeah, it's a good sign that we've got so many circuits. But unfortunately, we ended up missing Road Atlanta. Obviously, it was a random draw. So yeah, that was a bit of a shame. But yeah, we can see it tomorrow, which we're looking forward to.
Something else unique about RENNSPORT is modding. Modding is available. There's a couple of tracks that we've commentated on, actually. We did a Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland race at the Orchard Road Street Circuit, it's a fictional track set in Singapore. But these mods that will be available not just on PC will be coming to console as well. And so if you're a console racer, there's some tracks that maybe aren't available on the platform right now. Well, maybe your favorite modder is going to go and build a great version of it.
Yeah, I'm very much an enjoyer of other people making mods.
Not you?
No. I'm not. As you probably could have guessed, I have not got the patience for a mod to make one. But I really enjoy the sort of what sort of handiwork, I suppose that's not the right word, is it? But the effort that goes into making a real one from a good modder as well is really great, and doesn't often come to Xbox and PlayStation in games. So yeah, really pleased that's happening as well, and I'm going to be enjoying other people's mods.
As will I. I don't have the patience, but more importantly, the skills.
Yes. Yeah. Same. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that will be cool. It's even major titles like the Elder Scrolls don't necessarily always bring mods to their console, so that's a big step to look at. We are looking at the drivers getting set back in their rigs for the second of our Creator Cup races.
Some of them are. Game of Muscle's just running around.
He's grabbing content.
Yeah, no, but he's holding everybody up.
Hashtag content. That is the content, holding everybody up.
He's sat down now. I'm not ordering him or anything, I'm just saying.
I did see someone took a pizza as well around, so I'm not sure if that's Super GT that's enjoying a good late lunch.
Oh, I think that was a thumbs up, so yes. It might
no,
be.
He is, I can see it now.
Oh, you can. I can't see anything. But that's, it's good to have a bird's eye view from you there.
And that's without needing even to stand inside our well-appointed booth/trailer. So, it looks like GT3 cars at Spa once again. Seems to be a few change in manufacturers from what I can see. Unless I just didn't catch some of these slightly earlier. I remember Steve being an Aston Martin, if I remember correctly.
I don't.
Was he in a Porsche?
I don't remember. He wasn't near anybody at any stage, really, for me to remember. So hopefully we'll actually notice him this time. But yeah, maybe they're all in the same. Not sure.
At least the top three are. Morad's still in the Mercedes, Mardenborough still in the Porsche, and John Monroe still in the Aston Martin Vantage.
So that will be the same as before, and you'd imagine it will probably be them again. Although, as I say, Super GT could probably keep up with them. Having said that, I'm not sure how much RENNSPORT he's done. He's a good sim racer, but I'm not sure how much RENNSPORT he's done.
And I don't know if he's had much time to do much sim racing recently as well,
true,
you know?
That is true.
What we need is someone to invent the shrink gun from, what's that movie, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids? Something
You're
like
talking
that?
to the wrong person about movies.
That's true. But we need that so that someone can... or you've watched Ant-Man, right?
No.
Oh.
I told you, you're talking to the wrong person about movies.
Haven't watched. Well, what have you watched?
Nothing.
Okay, so someone needs to invent a device that shrinks a sim rig and can blow it back up
See,
again.
you could have just said that. What was wrong with that?
I was trying to be clever.
Oh, right. So I'm not intellectual or clever, so, you know.
Clearly, neither am I.
Going over my head. Going to be wishing for a different partner by Sunday. That's for sure.
A big shout out to the partners that have made this possible. Of course, the developers at Teon, the publishers at Nacon as well. To bring RENNSPORT to consoles is no mean feat. So kudos to them. Our partners at Moser Racing and Playseat providing our rigs for us this week. Of course, the team at RaceSpot powering the broadcast, powering some stuff behind the scenes, and then AK Informatica providing our very orange PCs. They have gone with the RENNSPORT theme, you know?
I like the orange. I do. As I say, it fits in with the theme. We're very orange around here, so it absolutely fits in, and yeah, it all looks great. The way it's all set up as well, almost like an Esports World Cup style, but obviously with 9 rather than 12. But yeah, it's a good style. I wish they were all looking at each other. Obviously, they've got to be
You can't look at each other while driving.
I know, but you know what I mean. Like if they're sort of. We're almost looking into each other's eyes as they're racing each other. That'd be weird, wouldn't it? But I think funny. It's funny in my head anyway.
Do we want to dive into Ewan O'Leary's head? I'm not sure about that one.
I don't.
So as we mentioned, tomorrow we'll be racing at, was it Monza and Road Atlanta? So back at Spa for the second Creator Cup race here today. We talked briefly about Road Atlanta, but let's talk about Monza, because obviously turn 1, lap 1. Whenever you go to a track like Monza with a heavy braking zone, a stop into the opening corner, that's significant. But if Maurice Lohner's here, he might suddenly decide to pop out the woodwork through turn 1.
It'd be funny if he just arrives at the event for that start, wouldn't it? I don't know if he is here or not.
For those that missed the context.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we should explain the joke.
Yeah, inside joke there.
Was it Esports World Cup?
No. It was ESLR 1 2022.
So we're talking 3 years ago now.
Blimey. In Munich, in Germany, maybe 23. Yeah, the final, what turned out to be the final race of the day for a lot of money. Moritz Lerner fired himself down the inside at turn 1 in a manner you can only imagine at Monza, and took everybody out. Marcel Cinchik went on to win. He did deserve it as well on the day, to be fair.
Yes,
the right person won, but it was a not comical ending, but just a very dramatic ending.
No, it's quite comical when it pops up at the start of every broadcast now.
Oh yeah, it's true. It does, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's an iconic moment, isn't it? First ever champion and sealed by an incident turn 1 through Monza. So yeah, hopefully no repeats of that tomorrow anyway, yeah.
But I am going to just repeat what you said. A worthy champion as well. By no means did he luck himself into that win. Marcel Cinchik very much earned that with the hard yards. We are closing in on 3 p.m. local time, which for those watching on the stream means we're just over an hour away from the start of our public competition. Our leaderboards had a total of just over 50 times on the board. We will take the fastest 18 of them, and they'll do battle. First in 2 semi-final races, the top 4 in each will advance and race against the winner of this Creator Cup, which does, I think, mean it's likely to be Jan Mardenborough or Daniel Morad.
Oh yeah, because it was supposed to be from the one race, but if there's 2 races, then
points.
Who is it going to be?
Well, I say Daniel Morad.
Yeah,
Don Monroe finished in second.
Yeah, Morad was about 4th, wasn't he? Or something like that.
Third.
Okay. I thought they were... Yeah, it'd be John in second, so he's got a good chance of going there as well. But I think he'll do well, actually, as well, John.
And I didn't give John his kudos either. He's done some racing in the real world as well. No? Yeah, there we go.
Just didn't want to talk about it.
Doesn't want to advertise his credentials. No. You got to set the bar low so you can shatter the expectations.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's what he's doing. Yeah, so pretty much let's say pretty much everybody, a majority of the field have real world experience. Well, we're calling these 2 the real life drivers, just because they've done it for longer, I suppose, and dare I say at a higher level.
It's been great watching Jan this year in the NLS.
Sorry? You have?
I have. Have you not been watching?
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
Have you watched him in GT World Challenge at all?
No.
He's been racing that Ford Mustang that you saw slightly earlier.
Oh, yeah. No, I haven't. I have though in the past. Obviously, I don't want to. I hope he's not listening. When I was growing up, he won that competition that got him some real life drives with Nissan and so on. So yeah, I do remember the story very well because I was younger. Say it quietly.
And obviously now a movie being made around that story that drew a lot of attention to it. But I think what we should acknowledge is just how many people nowadays. I mean, that was back in
2012.
I was going to say 2009. Your memory's probably better.
Well,
But
I wouldn't say that.
About 15 years ago,
Yeah,
right?
something like
a
that,
decade and a half ago.
Yeah.
He was one of the first to really make that transition from sim to real. And we're in a year where, look at Chris Lullum. I know a lot of people will say he's a real racer as well, but let's not mince our words. He has, for the last 3 or 4 years, been a sim racer.
Yeah, and it feels like the crossovers, both ways now, and more in both ways. So, yeah, more people going from the sim world into the real world now and doing great things in the real world, as you say, like Chris Lullum, at this very circuit as well, when his class at the 24 Hours Spa. I calculated, actually, the other day how many races he's won this year. He doesn't do very many races, but he's won nearly all of them. I can't remember what the number was. You said my memory's good, it's not. But, yeah, he's had success around here, and as you say, there's crossover. And there's so many, we look at the young sim racers we look and commentate on now these days. They are, crossing over. And, of course, the real-world drivers who we know are coming up through the ranks, the junior formulas and whatever, they're all on sim racing afterwards and before races, not necessarily to practice for their events, although a little bit. It's just for, something to do when they're not racing at weekends or just something they enjoy doing, because it is a bit easier to get to a sim race than it is to a real-life race.
Just a bit.
Certainly get to get on the grid for one.
Well...
Not your series.
Well, to get to the top level. I was thinking an ESLR1.
Yeah.
That takes some hard
yeah. But, if you want to do any old race, yeah.
But to your point about the crossover, it's... some people will know I've had the privilege of this year going and joining the IMSA paddock and their broadcast. It's funny how many people have come up to me and gone, oh, you're that guy from sim racing.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. There's so much more that, and imagine if you did this 10 years ago. Well, obviously the pathway would have bwould been different because you started in sim racing. So that's let's not imagine too many other worlds here, but, it's a, that wouldn't have happened, would it? Even if you were doing sim broadcast, say in 2015 or whatever, you're not going to get recognised even, maybe even not in an IMSA paddock, where the niche is very concentrated and there are more people there who would be watching it normally. It'd be harder to get recognised, but nowadays, not surprised.
It's not just drivers, it's not just broadcasters. If you are here and maybe interested in motorsports careers, but not just as a driver, if you're a college student in high school, I highly, highly recommend looking into a Formula Student program. It's a great way to get exposed, not just to the engineering side of racing, but there are lots of people that go there as business majors, help find the funding that some of these teams raise. Some teams that have budgets that exceed $100,000 a year to make their Formula Student cars. Lots of people in the paddock work through that sort of a program, doing Formula Student. Mehdi El Fathi, the team manager for Vitality/RAG, he's currently business head of his Formula Student program in France, and he's got a lot of responsibility. So again, I just highly encourage, if you want to pursue a career in motorsports, there are many, many paths, and the sim is a valid option. Right. I think we're in qualifying again.
We are. Or at least the drivers are sat there waiting. I can see John Munro driving already. I think he was first out last time, wasn't he? But he's off on the way now as well. Second off this time round, I think. Daniel Morad has also gotten underway. I know he was second, then Munro. So looks like the time gaps are a bit smaller than what we do in R1. Just to get qualifying with a little bit quicker. The times are going to come across very, very quickly in a couple of moments. But we are underway with all 9.
So 2:17.9 was the benchmark to beat in the first qualifying, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Good. Okay, so 2:17.9. Now, you alluded to this slightly earlier, but what the pros would do, the Kaiki Oliveras that we'll hopefully have a chat with in about 20 minutes' time, if he'd done a lot of practice, he would have done a 2:14.2 or something like that. That
was, certainly the benchmark at one stage. I'm not sure whether it was anymore.
And so he actually set a lap time on our leaderboard this week. It was a 2:15.2, if I remember.
I'm trying to work that out from that, trying to do the maths. What's 2 minutes and a half divided minus 14.3? 15.7, I think, isn't it? Yeah.
That sounds right.
Yeah, so you're nearly right. You're in the right area.
I wasn't far off.
No. And don't forget, it's a limited amount of laps, and I'm not sure actually what the program looks like actually for the guys for an Esports World Cup after the event, but they may not have driven for a while. Done nothing.
No, they don't touch grass for much time before the Esports World Cup.
So they make up for it afterwards, yeah.
You'd hope so, at the very least. I did see Darren McCormack. He's here this weekend as well. So we do have a few of those drivers that will hopefully come and chat with us. You're looking at a Mercedes. I think that's Daniel Morad.
Yes, I think it is. As he makes it, that Mercedes makes his way through Podium. That is not Daniel Morad in that case. One of the other
Rene Butler.
It's Rene, yeah. So he's still got someone sat beside him. He's still moaning. He's going to be mad at me for saying that. And he's gone wide now.
And he doesn't have his headphones on, so he's listening
I know
to
he's
everything
listening
you
to me.
say right now.
I'm only joking. But yeah, we're watching Rene at the moment on his way around.
But on that point, Daniel actually was doing practice without headphones yesterday because he was saying it makes you hyper-fixate on everything else. And that's something that I've been thinking about. Had the chance to try some of the rigs around the SimRacing Expo. Obviously, there's so much technology around us, and I got to try motion for the very first time.
Oh, you've never done it before?
Never tried it before. And you know what it did? It overwhelmed me.
Oh, really?
Because I'm so used to being in my sim rig. Everything's controlled, constrained. You know exactly what to expect. Not such here in a motion rig. Right. John Monroe provisionally on top with a 2:17.9. Jan Mardenborough's done a 2:17.3. And Daniel Morad a 2:32.
What was going on there? Trying to work out from what he said.
He said last the first challenge.
Oh, I see. It was on purpose, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm sure he only decided on purpose halfway round.
Much like Super GT tried it last time.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. He did a last to last, I think.
So, confirmation, Jan Mardenborough, John Monroe, James West, Gamer Muscle, Steve Alvarez-Brown, Kireth, Tom Harrison-Lord, Rene Butler, Daniel Morad, and then Robert Weinman are 9 cars for the second race in the Creator Cup at the RENNSPORT booth.
And they're just about on the grid now. They'll get set, get ready to go for race number 2. And Jan Mardenborough, the winner last time round, on pole this time round as well. So let's see what happens as the lights come on for the second time today. Our second race at Spa in the Creator Cup on Friday at the SimRacing Expo. Let's go green, and we are underway. Mardenborough, don't forget, was on the outside and challenged on the way towards turn 1 last time. This time, clear run in towards turn number 1, very clear run. Monroe leaves a little bit of space, although didn't need to leave loads on the way in towards turn number 1. So he's into second place, ahead of Gamer Muscle, who is then third. Rene Butler trying to take 4th on the way down the hill, looks like here, in towards Erosion Radion for the first time.
And Daniel Morad has already made his way past Thomas Harrison-Lord, but he's got a lot of room to make up. That was a rocket of a launch from Jan Mardenborough as well. And we've got to consider that these are GT3 cars. They're not traditionally meant to do a standing start. The only time you'd see that is when they fire off of pit lane, and so it's a very different situation to the rolling starts. There's a challenge for the lead. John Monroe around the outside.
Very nicely done as well around the outside, clean as he like. Oh, and Butler hits the driver in front of him, goes for a spin. He'll be down to 9th, I think. Yep, will be. Nobody else had spun round until that point, so Rene Butler to the back, unfortunately. But yeah, Monroe leads with a very nice move.
And that shows some confidence as well. Around the outside at Lake Com is not the traditional place that you'd expect that pass to happen. It does seem as though the Porsche does seem to be very good in a straight line, but maybe struggling a little bit more in some of those tighter sections compared to what you'd expect.
Yeah, the tighter sections definitely, but I mean through Erosion Radion it doesn't have any problem either at the real high speed stuff. I remember a couple of Esports World Cup seasons ago, it's very good at Monza, sort of again for that high speed sort of nature again as well. But yeah, he's currently second, Mardenborough.
And Daniel Moraz had an issue at Piff Path just before the run up towards Blanchimont, the long climb, and so that means he's dropped down towards the tail end of the field and I'm trying to do the points in my head, which is always a dangerous proposition, as anyone will know. Never trust the commentator's math. But if Jan holds on to second, John finished second in the first race, it's a dead heat.
Yeah,
no math needed.
Then what do we do? Need to find an extra rig to get them both there. Or they both drive in the same rig.
We have a one-on-one.
Oh, a one-on-one?
Maybe. Here we go. Side by side, some contact.
But a lot of contact through the final bus stop chicane. Mardenborough very close in behind Munro as they come across the line here, and he will look to the inside. It's a little bit indecisive initially, but brakes late on the inside. Have the place done. Oh, Munro goes for a cutback, but that was close to getting rear-ended by Gaming Muscle, who's in third place.
And he's done a good job to stick with these two. You can see the big gap behind them to fourth place Kireth, who's also in an AMG. He just made his way past Super GT, and over the top of the hill they go. We talked about the Porsche being good in a straight line, but with the slipstream pulls out, the Aston Martin already alongside.
Yeah, and should be in the lead again, you'd imagine. Munro went easily around the outside last time. Is Martin going to let that happen again? Oh, close. He just got over the curb on the inside there and very nearly went straight on into the side of the Aston Martin, but it is the same result, and John Munro leads again.
That's good respect.
Yeah. Not the respect that Morad and Mardenborough showed each other, that's for sure.
They were leaning on each other like only racing drivers can do. Now I tell you what, down through the compression, that's another bolt. This is some great racecraft as well. It's not just great racing, but Mardenborough back to the lead of the race with a sweep around the outside. And I think this could be, again, a fight all the way to the last lap, and the run towards that last braking zone could be important.
Yeah, and the longer they do this as well, Game Muscle staying in touch. You know, in terms of qualifying speed, we just saw it there. Don't think he can quite stay with them if it was a flat-out race like that. But while they're fighting, there's no reason why he can't keep up. And so he'll be involved as well, very much in the Munro role of last race.
The Munro role.
Yeah, sitting behind two drivers battling in front, hoping they might crash.
We're going to have to keep that. We're going to have to move that forward to the next Esports World Cup. I like that.
The Munro role.
The Munro role.
It sounds like some sort of academic theory, doesn't it?
Or it sounds like a pastry, depending on how you're thinking. I'm hungry, if you can't tell.
The Munro role. That was not in my mind, but yeah, you're right, to be fair. Towards the bus stop. It is quite close again, is John Munro, and Mardenborough feels the need to defend. I would reserve this for the last lap, to be honest, but already nearly side by side into that final chicane. Mardenborough will hold the position quite easily that time.
3 laps to go, right? So I can kind of understand why Jan defended there, because you're trying to prevent the other driver doing something that they can try again in a different way on the last lap, right? I think Jan's just trying to be predictable at the end of the day, which is all you can really ask for as a racing driver. Consistency, predictability, those are the 2 hallmarks you're trying to tick off.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And hard to achieve as well when you've got such little practice time. Oh God, nearly fell over the stage. So little practice time and so little time to prepare, especially when you compare these guys to what they're doing normally in terms of how much preparation they would have, how much focus they would have. It's very difficult to just sit in one of these and get going quickly. Mardenborough playing the games now of weaving on the Kemmel Straight this time round, and it keeps Munro easily behind. He did pull a little bit of an advantage though, so there was no chance Munro was going to dive from all the way back there.
They are starting to gap out Gamer Muscle, albeit slightly. We're not talking the largest of advantages by any means. Daniel Morad's recovery, seen him jump up to 6th, but that's going to be a little bit too little too late for him.
Oh, spin for Mardenborough on his own through No Name Corner. I don't think there was any contact with John Munro, although I could be wrong. He's smiling now, is Munro, and no surprise, but that was a spin through No Name for Dan Mardenborough.
No pressure now. Stay out of trouble, John. Stay out of trouble if you're listening to us.
He has got Gamer Muscle right behind him, so that might be a little bit difficult, but that was definitely a spin on his own. I didn't see any contact. He's down to 4th place, I think, Mardenborough now.
So Super GT promoted to 3rd, which, again, we're not expert mathematicians by any means, but I think that means John Munro could slip down to 2nd and still hold on here.
If that's even how we're doing this in the first place, I mean, I'd guess so, but...
let me get the points for you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we don't normally do 8 driver points, do we? But yeah, there we go. So, yeah, mental math's going to have to happen in the next 2 laps for us, but yeah, I think he'd probably be right. We'll see, though, whether he keeps Game Muscle behind anyway. I think he'd probably be favourite to do so, but he's really kept there very nicely in 2nd place, and is going to continue to apply the pressure on to John Munro in these final 2 laps I think we've still got.
And I love GT3 cars. Now, I might not always love the racing, but the differences between the manufacturers is always so cool to see. We've actually got two cars that are quite similar though in front of us, both running a Mercedes engine, front engine car as well. It's the Mercedes that has the longer bonnet though. The Aston's going to be a little bit more nimble and agile through some of the corners, and so this is the same BOP that was run in the Esports World Cup, so that comes with feedback from the drivers as to what they think makes the car quick or not, and so you can't really complain about the car here, at least in my opinion.
They might, though.
Everyone likes to complain.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So they might still, but even so, yeah, they don't have much reason to. Certainly, yeah. It's one of the great things about GT3 racing, isn't it? And especially these days, the size of the biggest cars compared to the sort of lowest is absolutely insane. And I'm pretty sure as well, these are both cars that are here today at the expo.
There's a Mercedes for sure just across from us.
Yes. Did I see an Aston earlier? Did I imagine that?
I think there is one, but that might be a GT4.
Yeah, maybe I imagined it was a GT3 when it's not, but yeah, definitely versions of which anyway are here. As you say, the Mercedes is very, very close. Changing tyres, I think they are.
And you were saying there's nothing that looks better than a used race car, right? And there is something about those little details, the rubber that gets collected on them. Actually, if you go over and look at one of the Porsches that is here, you can see damage onto one of its radiators. There are stories, battle scars on a lot of these cars, and that is one of the cool things about racing, is seeing the stories. Story right now, John Monroe, who's been picture perfect, and now at least a 1.5-2 second gap as they sweep out onto this climb towards Blanchimont. Should be white flag. One more lap to go next time by.
Yeah, it should be. And Monroe looking ever more comfortable in that lead as things stand. At least a second in front of Game Muscle. Still Super GT in third, although he's being caught by Jan Mardenborough. We can see at the rig closest to us. Mardenborough closing on in, showing that the real-life talent does indeed translate to the sim. And he's going to be going for third on what should be the last lap coming up now in a moment.
Jan got very close to the back of Super GT in through the braking zone, highly committed under the brakes, and I think we are about to see something special. He's gone purple in Sector 1 and Sector 3 last time by, I think, in that Porsche. Not the best exit there from Steve, although Jan digs the left sides into the gravel as well. That will slow the roll, slow down the momentum as they plunge down the hill and get ready to climb up Rouge and Radion for one final time.
Yeah, it's not going to be the battle for the lead like it was in the previous race, but a battle for third position going on to the last lap nevertheless. And don't forget, Mardenborough was in this position when they were battling for the lead last time round, although same story hasn't happened twice. Super GT will not defend in towards the... Oh, he will quite late. Oh, and he puts Mardenborough off. Good save, but that was quite late, wasn't it? Near the braking zone, and very, very late defending from Super GT to keep that third position for now.
But it was proactive rather than reactive, and it was right on the cusp. These are two drivers that I think are now just going to have a show to close out this Creator Cup. Hopefully, they'll be back here tomorrow, Road Atlanta and Monza, ready to go once again.
Yeah, different races those will be, but same sort of action. Daniel Morad's arms are everywhere. I think he's having a bit of a slide, and I'm not sure where he's running actually at the moment. Fifth place, I think. Can I say there?
Indeed, fifth
place. So recovered a little bit from his last to first, which I'm not sure he intended to do until he had a bad lap.
Yes. No, there's no doubt about that one. Had a spin somewhere in the first or second sector, and from there it was self-admitted, lost the first challenge. I've got to say, John Monroe, what a pleasant surprise. The consistency that we've seen, right? No mistakes in the two races so far, up through the field in qualifying, and look at the gap that he's pulled to Gamer Muscle. Yeah,
driven really, really well, and fought with the real-life drivers of Morad and Mardenborough very well in the first race. This time round, he's cruised to a victory, capitalising on troubles for the both of them in that second race. And he's going to go forward to win here. As Mardenborough goes for the other spot on the podium, it's going to be John Monroe who comes out the final corner to take the victory in race number 2 here on Friday at the SimRacing Expo. A small round of applause from Tom mainly, who's still driving, and John will be very pleased with that. He's had the best day one of anybody, you would say, out of these 9 drivers.
Very, very consistent, and that's really the trait of a top-class driver is someone that puts the pressure aside, and is able just to hit their marks time after time. There were a couple of GT3 cars trying to have a party there.
We'll have to try and get them to come over here, otherwise they're not going to hear us.
Should I try?
Go on, try, but I don't think it'll work. Try and chat to John Monroe, who has certainly picked up the most points out of anybody in the 2 races of the Creator Cup. Gets the congratulations from his teammate, Tom.
Now, can you hear me?
Oh, yes. No. Good for a little bit, but no. We'll get him to come over here and we can have a chat to him. But yeah, definitely picked up the most points of anybody. Hello, John.
I'm too far away from the mics up there. So.
Good to see you. How was that? Let's talk about first race first of all. Battling with 2 big names there.
Yeah, it was good. In qualifying, I basically was trying to get up to speed, so I didn't qualify so well. Oh, sorry, I'll move away from here. And then, yeah, the first race, I was finding my pace, finding my speed, and where am I trying to go? Which way? Oh, hello, camera. Yeah, just following what those guys were doing and trying to find the rhythm. I was really struggling for traction in the low-speed corners, but I realised after the race that I had no traction control on, so that didn't really help. So then thought, right, we'll get that sorted for the second one, and obviously I was up to speed. So yeah, just trying to battle with Jan. We were good in different areas. I was really good under brakes into the chicane, so I got him a couple of times there, but he was much better out of some of the slow corners earlier in the lap, so just played it safe. Jan made a mistake, and unfortunately, the race at that point was over between him and me, but James took the lead. I was getting very excited for James, but obviously tried to get the move done, and then that was it. So yeah, good fun.
And you're going to be back in the sim later now, competing in our final.
Oh,
This is news to you.
it is news to me. It depends on what meetings I've got booked. But what time is it?
About 5:30ish.
Oh, we'll have to wait and see.
Okay, we'll clear your schedule. We'll talk to Tom.
No, jokes aside, it's obviously the SimRacing Expo is a very busy time for traction. We're covering so many different things, so we're darting about all over the place, and I just love the atmosphere. I love the energy, and it's so great to be able to, be looking at all the hardware over here, and then come and try RENNSPORT and have a great race against some amazing names, and then fire off to the next thing. So it's just an excellent week, and yeah, awesome to be here.
I'm going to ask you this question because you have lots of experience across the gamut, not just sim racing, racing games in general. I think this is the first time there has been a console game with cross-play across both platforms and on PC as well. Just how significant is that?
It is significant. I think there are a lot of racing game fans that are on console that maybe haven't had that many options in recent years besides the major hitters, the Forza Motorsports and Gran Turismos. PC sim racers have had it pretty good with hardcore simulations, so in recent times, we've seen a lot more games coming to console, games being developed with console in mind. I think people are finally realizing just how big the racing game market is on console. And then obviously when you add crossplay into that, if you can get physics parity across the board, it's huge for racing, and it just opens it up to a whole new host of future sim racers, because we all got into racing games at some point, most of us when we were younger, and you need to get in on a console or something you can actually access to be able to then fall deep into the hobby and get into the really serious stuff. So yeah, I think it's fantastic.
One more question, we'll let you go, and then we'll bring you back to give you your trophy. One word to describe RENNSPORT.
One word to describe RENNSPORT: action. Action. Yeah, those races were frenetic. We were. I was really enjoying Jan and Dan in front of me battling in the first race. So all throughout it was enjoyable, and yeah, just really action-packed.
Well, hopefully we'll see you again tonight, but
hopefully, yeah.
We'll get back to you with your trophy in a couple of minutes' time.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much, guys.
Cheers, thanks very much. Very successful couple of races for John Monroe. So, as you said, surprisingly so. But
surprisingly.
We should have asked him what the Traction Overtake Cup should be called.
That's why
I didn't have a microphone to put in.
Well, cardinal sin.
Spare one.
Never give your microphone away.
I know, yeah. Well, he took it, so didn't have much of a choice. But yeah, no, it's we need a name for the cup.
Let's grab both Steve and Jan together now. We've got our camera just up there in case you were wondering where to look. Steve, qualifying race 1, what happened?
Nothing. I kind of forgot how to drive. But no, that was my practice race and qualifying, shall we say. Nothing really happened there, so we kind of forget that it ever existed.
Race 2. Sorry, Steve. Race 2. How have you been finding RENNSPORT, driving RENNSPORT here this week or today?
Yeah, it's just about getting used to a different rig and then getting used to the physics. You can go in quite hard on the corners. It feels like you brake quite late, engine braking, and then there's a lot of grip through the corner. Then you get on the power, there's not much grip, so you've got to just adjust to that. So yeah, it felt good on that second race.
Jan, you were leading in the second race for a little bit. What happened when you were in the lead?
I ran out of talent.
Very simple answer.
It's a short answer about it. Yeah, it was good. It was, and the second one, I kind of had a good gap, and
Not sure what's that. Oh, there we go.
yeah, here we go. We're back. Started to keep pushing, and then half spun, and that was that. And I had a little bit of a battle with Steve right at the end. I thought I'd give him a cheeky lunge into the last chicane, but he was a bit wise to it, and yeah.
I'm going to ask you both the same question that I just asked to John. Both of you came from a PlayStation background. So how important is it for a title like RENNSPORT to be available on consoles but cross-play with PC? Jan, I'll start with you.
Well, when I was 18, I was doing my design technology A-levels in school, and that's where I built my own rig. And so the money that I got from my A-levels is what I bought, the money used to buy my first wheel and pedals, and that happened to be another brand. But it was very important to me that it had to be on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation at the time. This is back in PlayStation 3 times and Xbox 360 times. But that was important to me. So I think it's very important for RENNSPORT to be applicable for all three disciplines, because there are plenty of people out there just like me back in the day where I just want to play on I have my one console and I might not have a PC. I might have not enough money for a PC. I have my one console and I need my platform to work on my simulator to work on that platform. So I think it's very important.
Thanks, Jan. What about you, Steve?
Yeah, pretty much the same. I mean, when you have games on console, you just open up that game to a much, much bigger audience, so more people can get into it. So yeah, on PlayStation, on Xbox, is always a great place for people to start. I started on Forza Motorsport and on Gran Turismo. It's the most accessible games when they're on console, when you can play them on the controller and you can play them on a wheel. So that's the best way for people to get involved. And with the cross-play stuff, that makes it a lot easier to race online and start seeing how you are against everyone else. So yeah, it's good.
I'm already imagining your videos of the cross-play lobbies online.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I can't wait for day one when we head into the first corner and no one breaks. We all love that. But it's going to be good.
One more question, we'll let you go. One word to describe RENNSPORT, and I'll start with you, Steve.
Different.
Different. What about you, Jan?
Challenging.
Love it. Thank you, guys. Appreciate the time. We'll see you tomorrow for our 2 more races in the Creator Cup.
Okay, yeah, see you there.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, guys. Well, we're only about 35 minutes away from getting underway with our public Hotlap qualifiers. But before then, we have our trophies to hand out. And these are some serious bits of hardware in a couple of cases. So let's start with third place. And so who is third place? Just to double check I've done my math correctly.
Yes, there are.
Oh, it's only the okay. So we're not counting points from that first race. That helps to clear things up in my mind.
It's a lot easier, isn't it? Yeah.
So that means John Monroe, Gamer Muscle,
And Steve finished third, just ahead of Jan. So,
Steve finished third. So let's start with our third place trophies. And let's welcome Steve Brown. Smattering of applause.
The biggest trophy he's won this week, I'd say.
Second place on the Creator Cup Friday, it's Gamer Muscle.
Looks like he's forgotten he'd finished second.
He was too busy filming content.
Yeah. Second place for Gamer Muscle.
And the top dog on Friday, Traction Zone, John Monroe. A big congratulations to not just these 3 drivers with the hardware, but all 9 of our creators who joined us for today. We'll see them tomorrow as well as they pose for their quick picture. I thought it was, I was a bit confused when I was trying to figure out who was third. I'm glad I didn't have to do the math.
Yeah, that helps us, doesn't it? But turns out they should have used the first race for practice and then really gone for it in the second race. So Daniel Murad's strategy really was not a good one. No, it wasn't good. Not for winning, anyway.
He just confirmed that for us as well. And again, we'll see the drivers back out tomorrow. 2 more races. Road Atlanta Monza is on the docket. two of my personal favorite tracks, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, Road Atlanta. As far as offerings on RENNSPORT go, I don't think you can go better than Road Atlanta. I'm sure you'll agree with me there. But yeah, see how they get on around that circuit. It is hard.
Multiple drivers described it to me last week during the Petit Le Mans week as a mini Nordschleife.
Very mini.
Very mini.
It's a mini normal circuit, never mind.
Yeah, it's what, 2.5 miles instead of...
It's about a minute 5 or something in a GTP these days.
It's about 7 times shorter than a lap of the Nordschleife. Yes, no doubt about that one.
Yeah. But no, it's not a bad comparison, is it, to have? But yeah, we'll see. Whether, I'm presuming Daniel Murray was there last weekend, wasn't he? Petit Le Mans?
Petit Le Mans.
Yeah, he was there. So see if his real life experience translates. Daniel Murad, was he there?
He wasn't racing this year.
Oh, he wasn't racing this year. See, I haven't got as much time this year.
You may have had other priorities that weekend.
Yes.
Our podium sitters are doing a quick chat with the team at Nacon. This will all be on social media as well. So, doesn't end here for our creators. There's more to come. And stay tuned on social media. Follow the team at RENNSPORT. Follow the team at Nacon for all the different titles that will be coming down the wire. I'm just looking around to see who we can get for a quick chat, because I did see a James Baldwin roaming around earlier.
He was hovering about, but I'll stay here while Arjuna goes and runs to try and find him. But yeah, he was racing very recently as well, a couple of weeks ago, which we can hopefully chat to him about. But Arjuna has not been able to grab James Baldwin, but instead a different northerner, a different Englishman.
We've got Will Chadwick here. Let's see, Will, if we can move our way into purview of this camera. Now, for those that don't know you, team manager for one of our ESL R1 teams, but also / reserve, and someone that got called up to compete in the big show a couple of times. I'm going to ask you this question that we've been asking the others. One word to describe RENNSPORT.
Innovative. Is it one word? If you want one word, I think innovative. They've brought a lot of new ideas to sim racing, and I think the whole structure and what they're trying to do with sim racing and competing in sim racing is really, really positive for everybody.
How did you get started in the world of sim racing? Because I think for a lot of people it does come from a console or something like that. Is that true for you too?
I think that it depends what you define sim racing as. I think everybody started on like a Forza or a Gran Turismo. This was the same for me. I played a lot of project cars as well when I was younger, and then naturally I had a PC and I started doing a bit more competitive stuff.
And then it spiraled from there?
Yeah, it's a big spiral.
So, you think back to those first days as you were branching out into this world. Would it have been very helpful to be able to jump onto something like a RENNSPORT where you're not just racing against other people on a, let's say, PlayStation, but now you can compete against the Xbox players, but maybe more importantly for figuring out how quick you are, you're playing against some of the best in the world on a PC as well?
Yeah, actually, I think that something you mentioned there is obviously when you're on a console, you're kind of isolated from the sim racing community. It's very much a PC-focused community. And I think that when you look at what RENNSPORT's trying to do with bringing the cross-platform between PC, Xbox, PlayStation, this is really, really useful for sim racing, and it will allow a lot more people to compete at a lower level.
How many, because RENNSPORT tracks how much you've driven, how much have you driven so far on the title?
On what did you say?
On RENNSPORT, how many kilometers, how many miles have you done? Because I know they've got an odometer effectively.
I've not done that many.
Oh, come on.
15,000.
Okay, you're right. That is not as many as some of the others have.
A lot. Some people have done like hundreds of thousands.
But 15,000 is still significant. So, you said innovative. What is something that someone who hasn't experienced RENNSPORT just yet will be jumping in 27 days' time on 13th of November? What are the things that they should be looking for as they build up their speed?
I think that the way the leaderboard system works is really good. The time attack with the resetting tires, so you get basically a level playing field for everybody when you do a time attack competition. And I think you should just look to improve. Look at the fast ghosts and try and see if you can get to the top of the leaderboards.
and how do you improve? You make it sound so easy, but what are the tools that you, as a professional sim driver, someone that helps coach and build setups for people as well, what are the things that people can be looking to work on?
I think that you've always just got to focus on yourself, focus on your technique. There'll be a lot of onboards that you can find online to see kind of what people are doing, what inputs they're doing. I'd go back and watch some of the R1 competitions, see what the lap times they were doing, maybe look at how they're driving the cars, and just try and constantly do something new all the time. Don't just sit doing the same thing, and just try and learn with every lap that you complete.
Thanks, Will. I pulled you aside from a conversation, so I'll let you get back to it. And I'm going to let Ewan slide into my place, and he's got Dara McCormack for company.
Thanks very much. Thanks for coming to chat to us, Dara. Just a moment. Oh, I need to move over here so my mic won't pick up. It's good to see you again after Saudi. Obviously, last time we saw you at the Esports World Cup here for RENNSPORT, but I know we've just been chatting about it. Tell us what you've been doing since then. What's life like as a sim racing driver when you're not competing for a World Cup?
Life's been different. Back to our roots, really, doing a bit of ECO, ERL. So we're going between sims on ACC and LMU as of recent. So next up is GT7, and our team, we've also qualified for MC Esports on iRacing. So myself and Kevin Ellis Jr. will take that on.
Let's chat about the season you've had in RENNSPORT. Obviously, format changes every year, but I've been saying to Arjuna that, you know, it felt most like an esports competition this year, I think, than ever before. All four of you on the track, always at the same time. The format felt a bit more esportsy. How did you enjoy it as a driver, this year's competition in Saudi Arabia?
I think it was tough. It was very tough. You know, Redline were amazing this year, same as last year. We gave it our all, and it was trying to beat them and trying to be a cohesive team is the most important thing in that type of competition. And I think we did a pretty good job to come home in second.
How have you been finding sort of RENNSPORT to drive as it's evolved in 2025? People will be trying it here for the first time and everything. What can they expect from RENNSPORT trying it this year?
I think it's improved a lot, especially since we started back in 2023. The game's come a long way. I think it's quite enjoyable. The physics are definitely more realistic now, or more fun at least, you know. And I think the masses will enjoy it.
Have you obviously we had the Hotlap competition earlier. Were you not tempted to have a go against the general public?
I believe it's still on, so I might give it a go. We'll see.
Yeah, I think you were saying earlier that it might be unfair on everybody else, but maybe that would be maybe that's unfair of me to tell everyone that you said that. But you know, it's you're a professional after all. Obviously, like I say, a lot of people will be trying RENNSPORT for the first time here this weekend. As you say, it's come a long way. How pleased are you to sort of see that we're going to be seeing cross-play first from day one in 27 days' time when we have launch and on November 13th? And I know that some of your background is in sort of more console games and so on. How important is it that for those people who are coming through now, who are discovering sim racing for the first time, they can race against people on PC, on Xbox, on PlayStation from day one now on RENNSPORT? How important would that have been to you, for example, when you were starting out?
Yeah, I think that's really important to bring all the platforms together. Then you get the biggest sort of player base, right? Cars starting up in the background. Yeah, no, it's really important to bring different player bases together. I think PC will always be the biggest, the most popular, I would say. But the biggest player base will be on like PlayStation and stuff like that. So yeah, it'll be really cool to see people driving together from different platforms on the same game.
That car is loud. I'm not sure what it is, but something's just started in the background. It's behind a wall. We can't see it, but but something's going on over there. But I'll let you go in a moment. One last question. We've been asking everyone the same question at the end. Your one word to describe RENNSPORT, the experience for yourself so far, especially nowadays. What's your one word to describe RENNSPORT at the moment?
One word. Exciting.
Could mean so open-ended. But that's better that way. Thanks very much for your time, Darren. Thanks for chatting us. Hope to see you soon. Thanks very much. Darren McCormack, professional RENNSPORT driver. Can we say that? Professional RENNSPORT, professional sim racer, professional of all things.
For those that watch the Esports Racing League, I had to correct myself there. I almost said Esports World Cups.
What it used to be called.
What it used to be called. I'm talking about the competition put on by VCO. It's across multiple different platforms. And we got a round coming up on RENNSPORT. In just a little bit, it will be our final of the regular season rounds. But what's so interesting about that competition, right, is on multiple platforms, drivers aren't required to compete on every sim. Dara's the only one that said, you know what, I can race on all of them.
Yeah, because I feel like some sim racers, especially when you get to that sort of level, they almost don't want to race when they know or they don't know that they're going to be, you know, incredible. They spend so long being very, very strong at you know, whatever sim it is that they've chosen, maybe more than one, but not often, and they don't often want to drive the sims. They don't really feel like, but you know, Dara just absolutely throws himself into everything. He doesn't really mind. Well, partly he knows that he'll be very good at it, but you know, it's he'll throw himself into absolutely anything in terms of simulators and things like that. So yeah, he'll we'll look forward to seeing him in the rest of the Esports World Cup. Oh, I've done it now. Esports Racing League. Sorry for the including the RENNSPORT round, the final round there.
Sorry for running off. I saw Jimmy Broadbent. I wanted to say hi. I didn't want to go
broadcast here.
I didn't want to go stick the microphone in his face, but I felt obliged to at least go say hi to one of the most entertaining people in our community. Now, there is definitely an engine that has been fired up somewhere in the SimRacing Expo. It's my first time at any sort of SimRacing Expo, to be fair. I've wanted to come over to Germany for quite a long time. I will be completely honest with you. And this is spectacular. We've got this great setup here. You can kind of see it's like a container that can be transported anywhere in the world. There's another desk that matches this where our production team is set up. And then the very Esports World Cup RENNSPORT driven sort of layout with the circle, which I know you were saying it would be nice to line people up so they can stare them in the eye while racing.
I just think it'd be funny.
That would be funny. It'd be funny to do a broadcast
also,
like that.
The screen's in the way. Yeah, can you imagine just staring at each other like that? That'd be quite intense, actually. I'm not sure I like that. But it would be good. Don't stare at me for the rest of the broadcast. Yeah, no, it would be funny. But yeah, it is sort of an esports setup we've got going on, isn't it? Very professional.
And to be honest, there is something about the circle that is unique. I don't think I've seen it in any other of the esports tournaments. But it adds to the level of atmosphere. Oftentimes it will just be, you know, rigs in rows of 11 or whatever. But this feels a little bit more intimate. It feels a little bit more intense, but also distracting because you've got that monitor above you, which can be very, very easy, especially if you're like me, easily distractible. You see a bit of motion up there, and suddenly you've lost 0.2 of a second. So it does put not just the creators that have finished their Creator Cup, but the next set of drivers, the ones that have qualified in from our leaderboards over the course of, I think it was 6 hours or something like that. Setting 4? Okay. Incredible amount of pressure on their shoulders if they're experiencing this for the very first time.
Yeah, and let's say a lot of them will be. You know, not many of the sort of I can't remember. I don't know how many names you recognise from the list you were seeing earlier. I didn't see the final list, but you know there was not too many you know drivers that I properly recognised from the sim racing world, as it were, the professional world. Yeah, and so yeah, I thought that was a really good thing to have actually to have some new names for us today.
I think it was about 3 or 4, if I'm remembering correctly. So I think you're right. I saw Kaiki Oliveira on there. So that will be one that potentially is a favorite. I see him across the way right now. So I tell you what, I'm going to let you sit here for a second. I'm going to go grab Kaiki for a chat. We'll get Kaiki Oliveira in underneath the rope. You'll come and stand with me in full view of the camera, Kaika. Good to see you again. We're talking RENNSPORT. We're talking console launch, 13th of November, 27 days away. I asked Will Chadwick this question. I'll ask you as well. How many kilometers, how many miles have you driven in RENNSPORT so far?
I think you're asking the best person because I have like 200K plus
It's too much, I would say.
200,000 kilometers or miles.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's practicing non-stop since the beginning. It's one of the toughest competitions out there, so you really need to put the time to be among the best. So yeah.
So that means you've got a decent amount of experience, obviously. One word to describe RENNSPORT.
Competitive.
Oh, competitive. I like that. But what does that mean? For someone that's jumping in on 13th of November for the first time, maybe someone who is, less experienced with the world of sim racing, what are the things that you think they should be looking out for? What are the features that are going to be really bringing them back?
I think RENNSPORT in all, it delivers a very good all-around package in terms of driving. It's very approachable. There's not much fuss around the settings or stuff like that. It's very pure. So I think it's really getting into the grips with the physics and really enjoying the tracks because it's very high quality. So I think it's very direct and like grid and go. So you can just hop in and enjoy it.
Now, obviously, you've got a certain manufacturer logo on the shirt. So I'm not sure if you're allowed to answer this question openly and honestly, but all the cars available on RENNSPORT right now, which is your favorite?
It's very obvious, it's the BMW. So yeah, no, actually no bias is the one that I really enjoy it. I mean, the Porsche has always been very good, but I like the challenge with the BMW to make you work it out, and yeah.
So, what's your favorite track then? If someone's jumping in for the first time, you're gonna tell them, try the BMW. At which track?
Spa.
Spa.
Yeah, Spa. I like all the tracks, but Spa is one of my favorites, and then Monza as well. Mostly the general that everyone enjoys. So yeah, Spa, BMWs, Chevskis.
Have you tried any of the mod tracks, the Orchard Bay Street Circuit, for example?
Yeah, we raced on it in 2024. It was a different experience, very lots of walls, close racing. It was very chaotic, interesting, and I drove a little bit the Crest da Caudas, I think that's called, and yeah, it's a very interesting, very well built track. So I really hope that we add more community tracks for everyone to experience.
Do you want... See, this is always an interesting thing. When people think mods, I think traditionally they'll think of bringing a track that exists in the real world but not on a specific sim. But Orchard Road and the other one, as far as I'm remembering, are made-up tracks. They obviously are set in a real place, but the designers have taken liberty to build a good racing circuit. Is that something you like?
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I think it changes a little bit the landscape that we are really used to driving the real tracks, laser scan and stuff like that, and having something completely different is a good challenge and also a new experience that I believe only sim racing can really provide. So I think it's really good.
Before I let you go, one more question. BOP. How much are you going to tell us about how the BOP processes works? Because the teams have, what's the right word for this? Ability to help contribute to the BOP being better. Not one car being better, but the overall BOP being a little bit better.
Yeah, I would say the BOP process is very, very open and very fair, very nicely streamlined. So I think it's something that I cannot go so much into details, but we really try to push the maximum for all cars to have a very fair level playing field. So yeah, I think that's one of the best BOP implementations in the esports, I would say. So everyone is very competitive with each car, and with more cars means more work for us. So I'm not really looking forward so much for that, but it's our job, so we need to do it, and we will do it the best way possible.
McLaren and Ford joining the fun soon, so that will be exciting. Kaiki, thank you for the time. You've got to go and stand over at the BS booth, so I'm going to let you go. And I'll go and rejoin Ewan.
Hasn't he got to be here for his race?
Oh, that's a good point. Kaiki, don't go very far. He'll be back on the leaderboard sooner rather than later. Well, we are getting closer and closer to the start of our tournament portion of this day. 2 semi-finals, 1 final.
Yes, so far we've had 18 drivers qualify. 9 of each will be put into 2 semi-finals on the rigs here. We'll get it sorted and set up very soon. Top 4 from each will go through into a final. So obviously 8, and then going to be joined by one Creator Cup driver, although that Creator Cup driver said they might not be available. So hopefully John Monroe will also be there with them, or one of the others, I suppose.
It's a busy time. I tell you what, I see someone else you can grab a chat with. So I'll leave you with Team Boss for BS Competition, Florian Hasper, and I'll slide aside.
Thanks very much. We're haggling you for an interview, if you don't mind, on the stream. Thanks very much for joining us. I want to chat a little bit about RENNSPORT, obviously, and BS Competition's involvement. You've been there since the very start with the competition. How has it come on? How has it been the last few years? The way that RENNSPORT's improved, the way that the state that we're in now.
Yeah, I mean, BS Plus competition always wants to win, and I think when we entered R1 and the whole competition on RENNSPORT, we had a very steep learning curve, I would say. We showed up and thought, okay, we are strong sim racers, we have a good chance. And then we got really slapped, I would say, at the first EWC. So, we looked into it, made changes, tried to improve the roster every year, and I think we're on the right way. I think in the online season last year or this year, we came fourth. Yeah, we were, let's say, knocking on the door of the Coandas and Red Lions, and this is where we want to be. Then in Riyadh itself, it was a bit not our day, I must say. So we finished 8th overall. So this is not where we want to be. Yeah, so it needs to be further up, and we are working hard for this. Yeah.
As you say, in terms of the professional competition, it didn't go your way this year. But obviously, for your drivers, had success in the offline part of things. Got to ask as well: have you ever driven with them offline, or driven RENNSPORT very much as a? You haven't driven very much yourself.
I'm totally honest, no, because it doesn't make sense. I mean, I only did 2 competitive races in my life. One on a different platform, which I think I got shunted. It was a big crash. Even made it to a highlight Twitch clip or something. And the second one was Jimmy's 23 Hours of Zolder, where a race spot car crashed into me. Yeah? So this is my racing experience, and no, I'm not usable on a sim.
I was going to ask you about the more casual point of view, but no, fair enough. Obviously, crossplay will be available 27 days' time, November 13th, Xbox, PlayStation, PC at the same time. Obviously, you're an admirer of sim racing from all sort of platforms, and how important is it that we can have such a broad umbrella of people who can get on RENNSPORT, get at it straight away?
I think it's absolutely crucial. I think, I've always said sim racing is still at the very beginning, and we need to grow it, and the more people can play games, play simulations, the better, and I think consoles are the key to make this growth possible. And so I totally welcome it, and I think on console I will try it as well.
You say sim racing is sort of at the start, but have a look at this. You look around, and I'm sure you've been here. It's my first year actually, but I'm sure you've been here previous years. Must continue to get bigger, and it does fit. As much as you say, sim racing is in its early stages, and in a sense, in some areas it does feel like that. But when you look at events like this, you must stand back and admire and think, "Wow, this is a great place we're in at the moment."
No, absolutely. I think the base is there, and it's a great starting point, and I think I was at the Sim Expo in 21 at the Nürburgring. I mean, also many people already there, but now I think it's bigger, which is great to see. This morning there were queues, like, I don't know, 1 kilometer queue to get in here. So I think it's amazing. I mean, I always look at stuff from the esports side, so I want these people also to get in touch with teams to support them, or with the top drivers out there, because I really think sim racing can be a major esports category, and we are all working on that. So it's amazing to see the growth, but I think there's still so much more to do.
Of course, RENNSPORT, part of that sort of top level of esports competition that I know you're involved in with the Esports Racing League. We'll be using RENNSPORT a little bit later on in this year. How sort of quick of a decision was it to include RENNSPORT in the 5 sims that you included in that competition this year?
Oh, it was super important, and I was so happy that the guys said, yeah, we're in, because I think it's also the first time, that they venture into something which is not organized by them or by EWC. So, our league is there for, combining all the big games and titles, and we have 5 great games on board this year, and RENNSPORT is one of them, and I'm really looking forward to 13th of December, where we go for the season final, online season final on RENNSPORT, and Then a few weeks later, we go to the live event in Maastricht at Sim Formula Europe with the 4 top teams. I think it's a cool competition. It's so amazing to have RENNSPORT on board.
Yeah, and as you say, going forward into another LAN event as well, which is what it's all about. One final thing before I let you go. We've been asking everybody for their one word to describe RENNSPORT, if you would. What's your overriding thought? One word to describe RENNSPORT.
Oh, challenging. Because it's so much work that our drivers invest into it, this is the thing. And it's a big challenge to succeed on this platform on the top level. So it wasn't more than one word, but it's a huge challenge, but we love it. Yeah.
Glad it's more than one word. A good interview as always. Thanks very much, Florian. We'll see you about. Thank you. Florian Hasper, always a good interview.
Right, time for you to step aside for a sec. And I've got creative director of RENNSPORT with me, Kim. We'll stare at this camera over here, Kim. I mean, what a journey, right? From launching publicly as part of Katowice with ESL. 3 years later, we are 27 days away from the public launch, the full launch of the game. How rewarding has this journey been for you and the team?
It's been what Florian said earlier. It's been challenging for sure. But if you look at that journey and you look at the start at Katowice with that amazing competition that happened there, on what was back then basically a prototype, but we did high-level esports on it, and then we moved on from that into closed beta, open beta, early access, and now we're just a short few weeks out from launching a cross-platform, cross-play sim racing title. It's incredible.
And at least as far as I'm aware, this is the first cross-platform, cross-play across consoles and PC. And we've talked to so many people that have said they've started from a more casual basis on a controller, then stepping up to the rig. Was that something that you and the team had always kind of identified as this is where you wanted to be?
Yeah, absolutely. And we realized quite early that sim racing is a very niche within a niche in the car racing space. It's quite demanding for a player to get in, but if we can offer paths through steering wheels and controllers on different platforms, you can build your big communities and racing groups together no matter where you play, and that means more people, more cars equals better racing in the end.
And so how have you tuned the experience for the console and controller players? Are there extra assists that they'll be able to take advantage of to get up to speed?
Yeah, so we have the assists that will help a controller player, like stability control, for example, to just give the car a bit of extra help when you start to lose control of it, because you don't have the same range of steering on a stick as you do on a wheel, obviously. So there are assists that will help a controller player for sure.
What was the biggest challenge? You talked about the process being challenging, but I'm an enthusiast of games, and so oftentimes you'll read interviews where someone says, well, building a game for the PC is the hardest because you've got so many different variations to account for in hardware and everything. But then you've got to bring that experience to console and make it as polished as possible. So what was harder behind the scenes for you and the team?
So it's a double-edged sword. On PC, you need to account for that people do have a wide variety of hardware. We made a decision quite early that we expect people to have decent hardware to be able to run the game properly. So it's sort of tuned to the high end. So moving that to consoles meant that we had to look at everything that we built so far. So we had to look at every car model, for example. Is it running too many polygons for the consoles to handle? And then we had to do optimization passes on basically everything. Because we also didn't want to make a downgraded version for console. We wanted to be as close as possible, but being a PC, you have a higher range, obviously, so there's always going to be more to cram out of a PC. But so we did a full optimization pass. We looked at every single car, every track, and we optimized it down in a way now so we have stable 60 FPS on the consoles, for example, running this same exact physics as the PC.
That was going to be my next question. So same exact physics engine, that's part of what makes this cross-play even possible in the first place. There's so much to talk about. Well, I'll leave you with just one question, the one that we asked Florian. One word to describe RENNSPORT from you.
So if Florian said challenging, I am not allowed to say that, so I'm going to say inspiring.
I like that, inspiring. Hopefully inspiring the future of our motorsports. Kim, thank you for the time. I know you're running around like crazy, so I'll let you get back to it.
Yeah, thanks.
So Kim here with his team, Lino, Linus, Robert, and Nicole. Got to give them all their kudos for all the work that they are doing to make this event possible. And not just this event, the platform itself. And I loved what he just said there, because as a software developer by day, I like to nerd out about this stuff. same exact physics engine running across of the PC, Xbox, and PlayStation version, which means on the 13th of November, you download RENNSPORT. It doesn't matter where you do, what platform it is. Maybe you'll see visually things are a little bit different, but they will all drive the same.
Yeah, and while we're sort of nerding out about new DLCs and new cars that we're showcasing this weekend, I think the excitement actually from people this weekend, more than anything, from everybody I've talked to, has been about crossplay, because pretty much everybody starts on console. I certainly did. I'm sure many people, we've already spoken to many people who can relate to that. So it's so important that console players and PC players have that access right from the very beginning, and that's I think what people are most excited about, and they absolutely have a right to be. It is a big thing to have right from the off, and I'd say the arguments about who's actually better will hopefully, well, they won't go away, will they? But they might be solved a little bit quicker. Let's hope so.
I did start on a PC, to be fair, but I started playing with keyboards, like literally.
Oh, wow.
My controller was my laptop keyboard, and I remember playing an old game, I won't say what it was.
How old?
It's not that old now that I think about it, because it would have been 2009, 2010. That's right around when I got serious into racing games.
Wow. I did as well, but you're older than me. I was playing racing games in 2009 as well, but
to be fair, I was playing racing games before.
Okay, right, okay.
But that was when I seriously fell in love.
Seriously, right, yeah.
Right around the same time, I watched Truth in 24.
What's that? Oh yeah. So I was about to say,
the great documentary. If you've not watched it, you love endurance racing. What are you doing? But it's
what am I doing?
What are you doing? It's narrated by Jason Statham, which, funnily enough, is what got me interested in it.
What? Oh, right.
Jason Statham was the voice talking you through everything.
I see.
But it introduces you to the Audi team at the height of their dominance with would have been the R10, I think, back then. It wasn't the R8, because they introduced the closed cockpit. No, it was the R8 just before the R10, and then the second Truth in 24 was about the R15 with the closed cockpit. But anyway, great documentary. Go and watch it.
Well, I'll have to. I always say these things about these, because I can get more behind a documentary. You know, I'm not a film fan, as you know. But
you will love this, I think.
But I do enjoy documentaries, but then I end up never finding the time to watch them, so that can be tricky. But yeah, no, it is great to have that, and these are the kind of things that I don't think there is enough in sort of sports car racing and sim racing, these kinds of things. Sort of these entry points, if you like. We need to get into a place where you don't have to just stumble across it one day to become interested in it. You can see it through other mediums, and that's the place we're getting to at the moment, and that is a good thing.
And so just another reminder, official launch on November the 13th of 2025. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and PC, X and S on Xbox, I should say. Pre-orders open for consoles now, so head on to RENNSPORT.gg to learn more. Pre-orders for PC will be available both, I think, through Steam and the Epic Game Store, but not open just yet. So stay tuned on social media for more news about that. We've already talked about 2 incoming DLC packs, one that focuses a little bit more on Le Mans and some of the historic racing cars that have visited there in years past, and then one I think a little bit more geared towards the DTM fans in the community. And that's one that I think is really interesting, because it's a series and a time in motorsports that a lot of people will watch with fond memories. I still think about the Mercedes, the boxy Mercedes, which I'm pretty sure is the one coming to the platform as part of the Touring Classics Part 1, the 190e Evo. But to be able to go out there and race, and not just race against people online, but with the introduction of AI as well, which will be here on day one, I think it's going to be really fun.
It is, by the way. It is the same one. No, I absolutely agree. As I said, I always talk about this in sort of sim racing titles that, I don't think there is enough of these sort of classic machines, as it were. I know it's harder to do, because they're not, they're not
harder to scan.
Yeah, they're harder to scan, harder to work with, for so many reasons. But I think adds so much to a title. I really do, and I'm really pleased that RENNSPORT is, because surely this is only the start. This is only the first 2 sort of classic DLCs, as I'll call them, that are being brought in. these become popular, they can, really, keep life into the sim. And, there's only so many times you can race GT3 racing again and again. You know what I mean? So it's great to have the classic cars. I'm thoroughly looking forward to that most. And of course, we get a new circuit with one of the DLCs with Le Mans, which is one of my favourites all time.
And so, talking of circuits, I was just looking through the tracks already available on RENNSPORT. We've got the Hockenheim Ring. We'll get the classic layout, so the old version of the Hockenheim Ring with the second Touring Classics DLC. That will be really cool. But another German track, Nürburgring GP, Spa-Francorchamps, Monza, the test track, which has got a really weird name that I'm not even going to try and pronounce because I'll make myself sound silly if I do. We've got Monza, Singapore. My website's the site. Oh, there we go. We'll blame my iPad instead. Technology is wonderful, isn't it? Monza, Daytona, Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, the Orchard Road Street Circuit, the Goodwood Hill Climb. That's actually been playable for quite a while. Fuji International Speedway, the Nordschleife, Jeddah, the Cresta Chorus, and the Founders Track, which the cool thing about this, I'm showing you in the picture, actually has the names of a lot of the people that have supported RENNSPORT to get to this point so far.
Yeah, and some spectacular scenery around as well at the same time. So, really looking forward to that one as well. Again, another thing I'm really looking forward to, another thing that I think, anyway, really will sort of give life into the sim for a long time, will be this user-generated content and the modding that comes in. And so this is the sort of first signs, and it's not a sort of player-made track, as it were, but it's almost as if to show players this is what you can do with the tools we're going to provide you. And that will set the imagination of people who've got more imagination than us.
And skill.
And skill. It will set them free, and they'll create some great things as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. And if we can start to see that in some sort of in the professional scenes, if we do, I know that we've seen the Orchard Road in R1 last year in one of the races, but if we can start to see more of that, I think that creates more exciting and interesting professional events also. So it's a win for not only the general user but the professional as well.
I was just trying to remember back to not just the Orchard Road races in R1, but the ones that we had at the Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland as well, because we did have some good racing there. And Singapore's got a track, the Marina Bay Street Circuit, but one that logistically is hard to scan, hard to model, hard to bring into a sim. So I love the way that you can bring that creativity forward while still capturing the essence of the location. That's always special. Let's talk cars as well very briefly. A big thank you to the manufacturers that have made all this possible as well. But in terms of prototypes, we've got the BMW M Hybrid V8, the Porsche 963, which of course has just won the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, the Mercedes AMG GT3, the Porsche 911 GT3R, BMW M4 GT3 as well, Audi GT3, Aston Martin GT3. There's a trend here. Ford Mustang, McLaren, 911 GT3 again. Now we get to the GT4s. Audi, BMW. There's a Porsche Cup car. There's a BMW M2 CS Racing. There's an Audi TCR. There's a Hyundai TCR. There are then three oddballs, I would call them. The Praga R1, which anyone who's a fan of Jimmy Broadbent's probably quite happy about. Porsche Mission R, which is an interesting one, the all-electric race car. And then the Porsche 911 GT3R RENNSPORT, which is not named for the game. We should be clear about that one. That was Porsche telling their engineers, right, build a GT3 car, but as if you had no restrictions.
These no restrictions cars always interest me because that does look a lot like a GT3 car, to be fair, even with no restrictions.
Except for the wing on the back.
The rear wing is quite spectacular, but I don't see why that shouldn't be allowed in GT3 regulations normally.
Too much power, too much downforce.
I mean, the rear wing in specifically. That surely that would be fine. It's a bit wide body as well, isn't it? Actually,
I think the two things that I was actually at Laguna Seca when they were unveiling the car, and the noise it made when it went around the track for the very first time. Oh, I cannot tell you how glorious it sounded.
So is this a car that they've built for maximum performance, or looks and sort of style, if you like? No. It's performance.
I think they only made like 75 of them as well.
Well, I'm not shocked, to be honest. Yeah, it does look pretty spectacular. What engine did they put in it? Can you remember? Oh, Google it. We'll Google it in a second because I'm still waiting for a car to surpass the RSR from Porsche.
Never going to happen. Never.
Oh, that's why I said I'm still waiting.
Well, it was at RENNSPORT Reunion where they unveiled the GT3 R RENNSPORT. Say that one 5 times fast. They had every generation of the RSR, including the IMSA spec from like 2015 before GTLM became an actual thing. And it was crazy. You'd hear I think it was 2015 spec car. It sounded somewhat loud. But then 2016, what a screamer. And then slowly over time, the WEC did its thing and made it sound quieter.
I thought in IMSA it was still allowed, even in 17 and so on, it was still allowed to ruin the countryside.
Oh,
with noise.
I've got a story that I probably shouldn't say out loud. Yeah, that might get me in trouble. Let's steer away from that one.
You can't just start and not...
No, I know, it's bad form, but you know what would be worse?
Carrying on.
Yeah, unfortunately. Me getting in trouble on this one. But basically...
He's going to do it anyway.
I'll say a little bit of it and I'll get myself in some trouble. The Aston Martin Valkyrie. If you want to listen to it unrestricted, unregulated, don't go to a WEC race. You've got to go over to IMSA.
I was told that...
Don't say the story because I think I've told you the story.
No, I was just going to talk about the muffling of cars in WEC, that it doesn't actually take away from the volume, but what I mean is, how do I explain? The sound is the same, if you see what I mean, but it's not as loud.
Okay.
I've not been, so I'm just going off what I've heard.
No, I understand what you're saying. It's the noise gets dampened without getting impacted, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting. To answer your question, GT3R RENNSPORT, a 4.2-liter 6-cylinder boxer engine, up to 9,400 RPM, about 600 horsepower.
It's enough.
About 20 kilometers an hour faster in a straight line, even with more downforce. That's not bad.
77 cars, apparently. Just 2 off there.
I mean, if Porsche's got 2 hanging around that they need to give to me.
Clearly they have, yeah. Somebody's got them. I wonder. I bet they're expensive, aren't they? If they're so rare. Goodness me.
Yeah, let's not go anywhere near that. Let's also not go anywhere near the price of a Ford Mustang GTD.
GTD. Oh yeah.
The road car, which is totally not confusing at all because it's got the same name as the race car.
That's not ideal, is it? No. When you're going into the showroom, you could have a nasty surprise there when it turns up your car's not road legal when you bought it for your trip to the shops.
For those of you that do pre-order the standard edition of RENNSPORT before 13th of November, you will get the Ford Mustang GT3, an exclusive livery, and 72 hours early access. So you won't get it on the 13th of November. You'll get it on the 10th of November.
Depends what hour on the 13th it is.
And when they release it as well, yes. So that will...
3 days earlier.
That will vary depending on what platform you buy on, PC versus Xbox or PlayStation. So make sure you look at social media. They will get you updated on that. If you pre-order the Deluxe Edition, not only do you get the Ford Mustang GT3, that exclusive livery, and the 72-hour early unlock, but in addition, and this is not just for those that pre-order, this is for anyone who buys it after the release as well, you'll get the 911 GT3R RENNSPORT, the Nürburgring Nordschleife, and both of the DLCs that we have talked about as part of the content. So you get the base package, an extra car, an extra track, and then 2 DLCs as well.
Yeah, all included straight off the bat. So that's pretty good, isn't it? And as you say, get to go 3 days early as well. So yeah, very good offering from RENNSPORT to get you started. And of course, there'll be so much coming in the future as well. I mean, we've been on this journey now for a few years as far as RENNSPORT is concerned, and yeah, it's only continuing. So there'll only be more to come in the future.
We, by the way, I think are getting ready for a little special feature here at the RENNSPORT booth. If you're listening in, it is Steve Brown, Mr. Super GT, one-on-one versus Jan Mardenborough. Now, this is something that we're not going to show you too much of. We're going to make you go to social media to see the results of how this ended. But I love a good one-on-one. It makes me go back to the Call of Duty days. One-on-one Russ. That's what you do.
It is a little bit more difficult in sim racing, isn't it, to have those? But if you get two evenly matched drivers out there who are very good, then it can be very entertaining as well. So I'm sure that will be. They're just setting up early on. Steve was asking me earlier when we're going to stop talking so they can concentrate and intro the video properly. I said we're not, but yeah, he is. He's getting ready. I think they're just getting themselves set up, aren't they, to get going there.
And again, a big shout out to the team at RENNSPORT, also the team at Nacon that are here filming a whole bunch of stuff as we get closer and closer to the launch of a game 3 years in development. And what an odd journey that must have been, right? Kim described the first ESL R1 tournament as being run on a prototype, but how far it's come in the 3 years since.
Yeah, absolutely. You'd expect so, but you know, it's still the work has to go in to achieving that, and so yeah, that's been great to sort of experience and sort of watch as we do from slightly the outside. Obviously, a little bit more access, on occasion, a little bit on the inside sometimes, but you know, mostly I'd say we're sort of just on the outside looking in, and it's been great to see that across the years as well. So as I say, so much confidence that this can only continue to go from strength to strength as well over the course of the next few years and the future.
Well, I think we're going to step aside for a couple of moments here. We'll be back from SimRacing Expo at the RENNSPORT booth as we near the start of our public competition. But first, it's time for us to go watch Steve Brown versus Jan Mardenborough. See you in a bit.
And it's 3 wide off the corner. Toe-to-toe, these two juggernauts of R1 are now meeting again.
He's going to try and go for the lead here on the outside line.
That is absolutely unbelievable. This is fantastic battling. There's squeezing, there's bumping, there's banging, there's bruising. Next stop for them, Riyadh. Next stop, the Esports World Cup.
We're at the Nationales Automuseum, the Low Collection, and I am joined by Marco, our CEO and co-founder, and also Morris, the same CEO and co-founder. So Marco, we just came back from EWC. It was an awesome event. Maybe you have a few words to say about this, as it's your little project, I'd say.
Yeah, so obviously EWC is a big thing for us. With RENNSPORT, we are participating there the second time in a row. Before it was Gamers 8, but since it is EWC, it's already the second time. This time we had the big honor to be the first title to finish, so that means opening also the club championship, which is a fantastic story for us as well, and gives a lot of value to the players and to the participating team especially. The whole championship we designed around the teams, because this is the fit and the sport which is very attractive, and I guess we designed a format which demonstrated that. So very pleased how it went this year. Absolutely fantastic.
We had many emotions. It was amazing on site as well. But we didn't go there alone, Morris. We also brought some new partners that we had.
Yeah, this year we came with a new partner for all the SimRig environment. It's Playseat, a really impressive new rig they released or shown there first. And also with Moza, a company which is quite familiar in the sim racing environment and is growing a lot at the moment. It's just really cool having these both partners for sporting now. Also well integrated into the whole ecosystem of RENNSPORT. So I think it worked perfect. And also let me say, the stage we saw there on EWC this year was amazing. So we learned a lot of things over the last years, and we all brought it all together. So what we saw this year is for sure the best on-site sporting we ever made, I would say.
And you talked about the big esports stuff, but we're also planning on doing some smaller esport things currently.
Yeah, so as you all know, we started our journey with a pure commitment to sport, and we built it a bit in a different way. We built it top down. We started with R1 as the top tier, but now with the release coming closer and also being available on console, we definitely will enlarge our sporting system there with R2 and R3. I will not spoil too many details about this, but we are definitely on it to back the top racing league with R1 with the lower tiers, and yeah, hopefully you will receive that well, what we are designing there.
It's interesting. We also talked a bit about potentially new offline events.
Yeah, as we saw in the past, offline events are always the big thing for the team and also for the community. And for sure we are planning to integrate this in all the R2, R3 ideas we have, really to build this sporting pyramid as we said in the beginning. So this is now really coming to life with the release of the game. Marco said it, on console, so cross-play, so we can involve a lot of people into the whole sporting system, and this really is the starting point for all the R2, R3 and other sporting activities, and it will include offline events as well.
So what were your highlights for the EWC? There was a lot of great stuff, but were there some moments that that stood out to you?
Highlights are always linked to big emotions, I would say, and if you see Team Redline winning the team championship and with all the emotions involved, it's absolutely fantastic. This is, sorry for stealing that, Morris, this is with the goose bubbles.
Definitely.
No, that's fantastic to see, definitely, yes. And this also is for me very nice to see that the format paid off exactly in that team format. And let me mention one more thing. If we want to name an outstanding driver within EWC, it's definitely Darren McCormack for me. What he performed, honestly, it's absolutely amazing. So very great experience what we created there for the teams, but also for individual drivers.
Let me add one thing. So what I saw this year on EWC was just outstanding, and how the teams really understood to work as a team. This was completely new for me in racing or esport, and it worked so good. And I think we established a format which is really new and great for the future. And I also have to say again, it always is such important for us to take all these experiences and knowledges from stage and all these high-end drivers really to make the game better. So all the feedback we get at these kind of events and all the data we can collect helps us so much really to make the game better. And this still works so close before the release. So we have several things took away from EWC, and yeah, was really good.
We kept our promise to really set up a stage for those athletes. We promised that, and together with all our partners, we absolutely delivered this year. We are proud of that, and it was received very well by not just the participants, but also the partners you mentioned. So for us, incredible event.
We are at the Nationales Automuseum, the Low Collection, and I am joined by Marco, our CEO and co-founder, and also Morris, the same CEO and co-founder. So Marco, we just came back from EWC. It was an awesome event. Maybe you have a few words to say about this, as it's your little project, I'd say.
Yeah, so obviously EWC is a big thing for us. With RENNSPORT, we are participating there the second time in a row. Before it was Gamers 8, but since it is EWC, it's already the second time. This time we had the big honor to be the first title to finish, so that means opening also the club championship, which is a fantastic story for us as well, and gives a lot of value to the players and to the participating team, especially. The whole championship we designed around the teams, because this is the fit and the sport which is very attractive, and I guess we designed a format which demonstrated that. So very pleased how it went this year. Absolutely fantastic.
We had many emotions. It was amazing on site as well. But we didn't go there alone, Morris. We also brought some new partners that we had.
Yeah, this year we came with a new partner for all the SimRig environment. It's Playseat. A really impressive new rig they released or shown there first, and also with Moser, a company which is quite familiar in the sim racing environment and is growing a lot at the moment. It's just really cool having these both partners for sporting now, also well integrated into the whole ecosystem of RENNSPORT. So I think it worked perfect. And also let me say, the stage we saw there on EWC this year was amazing. So we learned a lot of things over the last years, and we all brought it all together. So what we saw this year is for sure the best on-site sporting we ever made, I would say.
And you talked about the big esports stuff, but we're also planning on doing some smaller esport things currently.
Yeah, so as you all know, we started our journey with a pure commitment to sport, and we built it a bit in a different way. We built it top down. We started with R1 as the top tier, but now with the release coming closer and also being available on console, we definitely will enlarge our sporting system there with R2 and R3. I will not spoil too many details about this, but we are definitely on it to back the top racing league with R1 with the lower tiers, and yeah, hopefully you will receive that well, what we are designing there.
It's interesting. We also talked a bit about potentially new offline events.
Yeah, as we saw in the past, offline events are always the big thing for the team and also for the community. And for sure, we are planning to integrate this in all the R2, R3 ideas we have, really to build this sporting pyramid, as we said in the beginning. So this is now really coming to life with the release of the game. Marco said it, on console, so cross-play, so we can involve a lot of people into the whole sporting system, and this really is the starting point for all the R2, R3 and other sporting activities, and it will include offline events as well.
So what were your highlights for the EWC? There was a lot of great stuff, but were there some moments that that stood out to you?
Highlights are always linked to big emotions, I would say, and if you see Team Redline winning the team championship and with all the emotions involved, it's absolutely fantastic. This is, sorry for stealing that, Morris, this is with the goose bubbles.
Definitely.
No, that's fantastic to see, definitely, yes. And this also is for me very nice to see that the format paid off exactly in that team format. And let me mention one more thing. If we want to name an outstanding driver within EWC, it's definitely Darren McCormack for me. What he performed, honestly, it's absolutely amazing. So very great experience what we created there for the teams, but also for individual drivers.
Let me add one thing. So what I saw this year on EWC was just outstanding, and how the teams really understood to work as a team. This was completely new for me in racing or esport, and it worked so good. And I think we established a format which is really new and great for the future. And I also have to say again, it always is such important for us to take all these experiences and knowledges from stage and all these high-end drivers really to make the game better. So all the feedback we get at these kind of events and all the data we can collect helps us so much really to make the game better. And this still works so close before the release. So we have several things took away from EWC, and was really good.
We kept our promise to really set up a stage for those athletes. We promised that, and together with all our partners, we absolutely delivered this year. We are proud of that, and it was received very well by not just the participants, but also the partners you mentioned. So for us, incredible event.
I'm joined by the two executive directors, Florian and Toby, here at the Nationales Automuseum, the Low Collection. Thank you for having us. Can you introduce yourself quickly?
Well, my name is Tobias Reichle. I'm sharing duties with Florian here, and I'm curating the collection. So I'm responsible for the cars here in the collection, and I'm doing that for over 6 years right now.
My name is Florian Urbic, and I'm the second part of the executive directors here, and I'm responsible for marketing, PR, for our collection and for events and all that kind of stuff. And I joined the team 3 years ago, so 1 year before the opening of the museum.
Right, the opening of the museum 2 years ago. We have been in contact since then. Morris has been in contact with you. And from what I've heard at least, we wanted to work with you for a very long time, and we're glad that it finally worked. We were here to scan some cars. Can you tell us a bit about the Nationales Automuseum, the Low Collection?
Well, the museum was transformed from a private collection into a public museum. Mr. Loh, the owner of the cars and the founder of the museum, he has been collecting cars for now close to 40 years. It all started when he was a little boy of 10 years of age, and a friend of his parents visited in a Mercedes 190 SL, a silver roadster. And that day he fell in love with the car, and he promised one day when he can afford one, he'll buy one for himself. And so, like close to 40 years ago, he kept the promise he made to himself as a little boy, and he started the collection.
Did he start it with that car, or did he have a different car at first?
So he bought, one of his first cars was a 190 SL, and then he started to collecting other Mercedes and Porsche and stuff like that, and then expand into different sections of cars. So like pre-war cars, racing cars, Formula One cars. So that started the new collection of him like 25 years ago.
Okay, that's cool. So now you're working with RENNSPORT and stuff. How is the collaboration with RENNSPORT?
Well, when we first talked to Moritz and he gave us the vision of RENNSPORT and what's behind it, I think we were really convinced right from that point on that we want to be on board, and we're happy to be a partner of RENNSPORT and happy to have you guys here to scan our cars, and are happy to have our cars in the video game. Can't wait to play them. And yeah, we're pretty much convinced that this is going to be the greatest video game in the world, I guess.
That sounds very promising. We are, again, very grateful that we can be here and that we also can use your cars to implement them in our game. Now for something more personal, what's your favorite car in the collection that we have here?
Well, to be honest, that changes every week because we have so many different cars in here. So we're displaying around 150 cars in total. For me personally, at the moment, it's a Bugatti Type 59, which is in our current special exhibition, which is dedicated to 75 years of Formula One and Grand Prix racing. So this is my pre-war favorite car at the moment.
Nice. And what about you?
Well, as Tobias said, it's really difficult to pick one, and but the car I'm picking most of the time recently, the first Ferrari 250. That's a Ferrari 250S, so the grandfather of the Ferrari 250 GTO that everybody knows, and it's a one-off, and it's got a great history that you could write books about or make films about. And it won the 1952 Mille Miglia. To beat the Mercedes Works team is a great achievement, and so you really have to admit that what the car achieved and what it did for Ferrari's history is so amazing, and so that would be my favorite.
Nice. Then another question to this whole collection that you have here. What is the rarest car that you have here?
Where to start, where to stop? I would start with the Maybach Accelero. which is a one-off car. So this is quite rare. So this was a cooperation between Maybach and the tire makers Fulda. So this was a tire for fast, heavy cars. So they drove in Nado with that car, which is a one-off V12 bi-turbo, 351 and 45 kilometers per hour with Klaus Ludwig. So they did a record with this car in 2005. So we have the car over here, but Florian will mention at least another car, I think.
Well, to look at it from a different angle, the Maybach Accelero is a rare car, but it's very well known because it was used for promotion back then. And then we have other rare cars that like 95% or even more of the people that come here have never seen it or never even heard about it. Like, for example, the Bucciali from the early 1930s. And it blows people away because of its looks. But the Bucciali brothers never intended to become car makers. They built their cars to promote their invention. So they only built 6 cars and only 2 of those still exist. And the only one that can be publicly seen is the one here in the Nationales Automuseum. So there are different angles to look at it. Yeah.
And there's many other cars around here, like the Alfa B Motore, which was like an invention of Enzo Ferrari to beat the Germans, the Silver Arrows in the 1930s. We can tell like an hour about our special cars in here.
We are in contact with the Nationale Automuseum since 2 or 3 years, so it's really good relationship we have here. And then they gave us the chance really to scan all the cars we would like to have in RENNSPORT over the next quarters. I think, Alex, we start with the touring car area. Yeah, I mean, you see one car here, but if you look closely and pay attention, there's like little flick switches that like individual to drivers. And Alan McNeish has like a button and flick which is called the Stark Fuck Up. So whatever that means for him to get rid of some issues, so to say. Yeah, it's just personalized. And I think the story of us is like we want to bring closer together the real life cars that we see here to like a digital twin. Yeah, and that was the story from the beginning. Mark and I always had in mind we scanning real-world cars and bringing the digital twins into RENNSPORT. And here you can see a perfect example how this works.
Let me add something there, because those little details is at the end what is underlining the soul of a car. And this is when you enter that venue here, it's unbelievable how immediately you got caught by that spirit in there. Every individual car is telling an individual story, and this is what we want to catch with those really precise replications in the highest quality, as you hopefully appreciate then when you see that, and bear those little stories in mind. This is the starting point of telling that, and really the starting point of transporting this spirit and this soul of every individual car to you and to the virtual world then at the end.
Going through the 2000, Bernd Schneider, he was a DTM champion at this year, I think. And then going through to the 90s, just look at it, it looks absolutely amazing. And also here, just once you have that car in game, just pay attention, go into like spectator mode, look at all the little stickers on the steering wheel, on the flick switches, just go around the car and just appreciate the little details that makes this car this car.
That's my favorite part, I would say. That's the early beginning of DTM, or I would say it's not the beginning of DTM, there was DTM before, but that's the golden age of DTM. So it's the late 80s with the BMW and the Klaus Ludwig Mercedes.
What we can do is like if you look at that door, for example, later, like that's what DTM makes special, right? You have, it's basically production cars, so you need to keep some certain parts stock. So if you have, lucky enough, a E30 at home right now, you could just say like, hey, I can retrospect some of the individual bits and pieces of the original street cars. Same goes with the E90 Evo. I think that livery, just everybody knows it who has like a little bit looked into DTM and German motorsports. It's just so iconic. I would love to just live here for the next 3 years and scan every single car that lives here. For me, what these cars in the 2004 years are for you is for sure for you, Marco and me. But 3 of these cars you could see here will for sure be in our first part of Touring Car DLC.
Happy to introduce something very exciting, especially for me personally, to be honest. It is on purpose that we are sitting in front of a Le Mans winner car. One of the very iconic faces of Le Mans were dominated by that prototype from Porsche. And this car here is part of our Endurance Classic DLC.
1 out of how many cars? 3 that we scanned so far. I think super cool start. Other ones maybe stay a little bit of a secret so far, but yeah, I'm gonna probably be back quite soon scanning the next batch of cars. So maybe you guys, if you saw something in B-roll that you would like to see in RENNSPORT, let us know. We're happy to listen to you guys and just bring whatever you want if it makes sense. Yeah, I don't know what it is with you, Morris, but I get goosebumps sitting in front of that car.
Definitely, that's my standard answer on that.